guys? Welcome back to True Crime for Boys, the Smart Little Boys True Crime live stream. How's everybody doing? We'll see if we can battle through the brutal shadow ban we're dealing with. I think it's because we talked some shit about Chuck and Corny, and they got connections at YouTube HQ. No, this isn't light skin Hugh, man. This is light skin Hugh. This is like smart little boy Hugh. This is a smart little boy style show we're gonna be doing tonight. But yeah, I think we besmirched Chuck and Corny, who have deep connections. And, well, we're dealing with the consequences of that. Is this a light skin Hugh shirt? I feel like this is my investigator shirt. This is my kind of loose cannon, plays by his own rules, private investigator style shirt. That's what I'm thinking this one is. Make my font bigger here. So, yeah, okay, what I'm thinking. Yeah, man. Yeah, exactly. Newsboy Hugh, giving the scoop, giving the lowdown. So yeah, what I'm thinking we're gonna do here. This is sort of experimental, so we'll see. But I'm thinking we'll do some research tonight. Tonight we're gonna do the secrets of the diamond biz, which, to be honest, I haven't done a ton of pre-research for, but I feel that I have a pretty strong thesis for what has happened there, and we'll do that. And we'll see if this case has legs. If it does, we'll keep going with it. What I'm thinking is we'll do the True Crime for Boys research streams, and then if we find a juicy case, I will bring Jordan in, and we'll process it into either like a offshoot podcast episode or like video of some sort. But we'll see. We gotta find a case with legs first, which this one may or may not have. What happened to the last stream? Oh, right. I forgot. I just have to censor some information in that. I was a little careless. So I have to go back and discreetly censor some information, but I can put it back out if people want to see it. What I might do is put all the Drowned God episodes into like one supercut maybe, or maybe I'll just put that one out with certain sensitive information redacted. So that's the thing about being a private eye, guys, is you got to be real careful with people's information. It's high stakes stuff. How do I make the font bigger? But anyway, housekeeping aside, we can get into the case here. I have done a very modest amount of pre-research on this one. And I have a few other cases lined up for the future. So we'll see if this one has legs. This might be a one-off kind of thing. This was sort of brought to my attention by listener Dr. Peanut Butter. But I have a pretty solid list here of some interesting stuff that we're going to get into. Yeah, it wasn't anything bad. It was literally just I was a little careless, and I may or may not have doxed some people minorly, so I just made it private and don't think anyone noticed. That's good. So I'll put it back up. I just have to go in and I don't know, screen record it and censor it or something like that. But yeah, I'll put it back up. I'll either do it on its own thing or do like a supercut of the Drowned God. The Drowned God saga. But yeah, I'll put it up this week sometime. But anyway, on to diamonds. On to the diamond biz. So, yeah, I got a couple videos here, a couple articles. Well, yeah, that's kind of what started this off, and that's something that I would like to look into is like the etymology, the etymology of the word jeweler. How did that happen? How did they let that slip through? What's going on there? So, I mean, I guess my thesis going into it, prior to really doing any research at all, and I think I'm correct on this, is just a cool sip of Hyperborean Cola for my throat there. But yeah, my thesis going into this, prior to doing any research, we'll see. Maybe I'll be proven totally wrong. That's totally possible. I do not need to save this. Is that diamonds were controlled by like a global monopoly, kind of set up by Cecil Rhodes. And that monopoly made the diamonds artificially. Sorry, folks. I was so nervous before I came on, I had to smoke a whole pack of cigarettes. So I was afraid I would be coughing as I tried to live stream. But yeah, my theory is that the global diamond cartel, shall we say, set up by Cecil Rhodes, Jay's pumping the choke chemicals into Hugh's space. Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. I think that's true, because I think we're going to uncover some secrets that certain people don't want us to know. But yeah, okay, so my theory going into it, that I think will be proved correct, we're only going to look up information that confirms our pre-existing theories and biases here. That's what we're doing here, folks. But that the Cecil Rhodes, Rothschild-backed diamond cartel made diamonds artificially scarce, and then through master advertising-based trickery made diamonds an essential part of the human reproductive process. I don't believe I've ever claimed I was quitting cigarettes. To my knowledge. Feel free to fact check me on that. I do not believe I've ever made that claim. So these are the things I want to figure out. I've done a little bit of research into Cecil Rhodes, as in I bought a book on Kindle that I read the first 15 pages of, and I listened to half of 3 different podcasts. So I think I'm confident in saying that I'm basically an expert on Cecil Rhodes. And there's maybe some interesting things to dig into there. He's a rather interesting fella, as far as I can tell. Then I want to dig into when exactly did diamonds become like a thing as a consumer product, and like specifically how did they become like the thing that you need to spend obscene amounts of money on to get married? When did that happen? So I believe there was some advertising campaign, which I think diamonds are a girl's best friend and like diamonds are forever were key taglines in. So I'd like to dig into that a bit. And then, also discover the etymology of the term jewelry, see what's going on there. And, maybe we'll come across some other interesting things as we go. What's Israel's number 1 export? Is it diamonds? I'm going to guess diamonds. Oh my. Israel's top export is diamonds. Well, that's weird. Well, that's odd. Israel's top export is diamonds, including both cut and uncut diamonds. Well, how does Israel become the number one exporter of diamonds? I don't think they produce. From my little bit of research I did, I don't think that Israel is producing a huge number of diamonds. That's very odd. Why is Israel number one diamond producer? Oh, it's a major player in diamond polishing and trading. Yeah, so we'll see how this goes, because I think it is going to be some like reading articles, maybe watching some videos. So we'll see. We're going to go into the rabbit hole. We're going to learn a few things, and if it's interesting, I will then process the information into a more digestible form for mass consumption, if we find a case that's worth going further on. Who invented? Okay, yeah, because lab diamonds, from my little bit of research, are a kind of big deal right now, because I think that they're like functionally identical to a natural diamond, and I guess there's a bit of a campaign to get people buying natural diamonds. Child labor. Did Elon's dad? I believe it was an emerald mine, is what I've heard. But, okay, I have a couple, I don't know which one's which. I have a couple videos I pulled at some point here. If I can pull those up. My Noid resources folder. I grabbed a couple videos and a couple articles. I don't know which one is which. We will see. But yeah, I think Elon's dad had a emerald mine in South Africa. And yeah, I do want to do a little bit of digging on Cecil Rhodes, because he was... from what I gathered, he was sort of an odd duck who, for those who don't know, like founded the country of Rhodesia and was basically like king of South Africa and Rhodesia. And apparently he formed some secret society around himself for the advancement of the British Empire, but also like only worked, like he never married. He exclusively hung out with like bunch of young guys.
The diamond engagement ring. How else could 2 months' salary last forever? A diamond is forever. De Beers.
Moissanite is awesome. Not only does it perfectly mimic a diamond, but they have all of the characteristics of a pure diamond. Yeah, the 2-month salary bit. Okay, I thought, when I actually glanced at this one, I thought it was older. I guess that's from 1997. Because I am curious, like, when did buying a diamond engagement ring become, like, an essential thing to do? Where you have to spend months of your salary on this. Like, when did that get instituted? Because surely there was a time... Because from my understanding, for a long time, like the only diamonds people were getting were out of what is now India, and that's like you had the I think it was like the Mughals, where the term Mughal comes from. they had diamond mines. That's where the like Hope diamond, I think I might be getting some things mixed up, but I think it's a lot of like the big famous diamonds came out of these like Indian diamond mines, and that was kind of where they came from. And then after the British got to South Africa, they discovered a bunch of diamonds there. And that's where Cecil Rhodes was able to sort of establish like a global diamond monopoly. But Cecil Rhodes is happening, this is like the late 19th century, right? So not that long ago. So for most of human existence, I don't think it was expected that like your average guy is going to be, you know, selling 2 months of his turnip yield to get a diamond engagement ring. But yeah, I guess like lab grown has been a big thing. My understanding is Chinese people, in their sort of insectoid wisdom, don't really give a fuck if a diamond is natural or not. And since they're like a huge consumer of luxury products now, that's like taken a real big chunk out of the diamond biz. Oh, and you know what? Actually, another thing, I'm going to add it to the list of things we're going to look into. Is it the case in America as well that, like, no matter how shitty and ghetto and run down a mall is, there's always diamond stores there? Because, like, here in Edmonton, we've got a couple, like, essentially dead malls that are just, like, homeless person ghost towns. Like the one I'm thinking of specifically is our city center mall right in our downtown, which is like, it's all boarded up. Nothing's going on there, but it's like a shooting gallery for homeless people. All the stores are closed up, except it's got like 3 diamond stores. And like, what does anyone know like what the deal with that is? Like, I assume there's something sinister going on, because it's like literally you go to the city center mall and like every mall is full of diamond stores. And it's like, are people showing up and just randomly buying a fucking diamond? Like, is this homeless person going to spend two months of welfare getting a diamond ring for his homeless wife? Okay, I'm hearing reports in the chat that that's kind of the case everywhere. Does anyone have a theory on like what is going on there? Because, like, every mall is, like, loaded with diamond stores, not just, like, the super ghetto run-down ones. Okay, because, yeah, like, who is buying all these diamonds? Yeah, okay, yeah, that's exactly, like, a mall that could be 90% Spirit Halloween, and it's got, like, multiple diamond stores. I feel like it's some sort of, like, criminal money laundering or something, because literally at City Center Mall there's basically nothing. I think there might be a dollar store, and then it's like rows and rows of like closed up stores, and then multiple diamond stores. And it's like, if I was going to go buy a diamond, I wouldn't go to like the homeless person hangout. And also our radio stations are clogged with like the most like low rent diamond store radio advertisements. They seem to be the number one like local advertiser, are these like horrifically poorly made like homemade diamond store ads. So yeah, that's something I don't know if anyone has any theories. I see in the chat there that it's money. I think it's a money laundering thing, because it doesn't make any sense. Because yeah, if I'm gonna go buy a diamond, I'm not gonna go to some like ghetto homeless person mall. You know what I mean? Like, I'd be buying that shit on Amazon. Have it delivered right to my door. Yeah, I don't know. There's something fishy with the mall diamond stores. I'm pretty confident. Maybe we'll dig into that. Oh, this is not including the fact that the stores near me often offer some program to sell the ring back and actually get most of your money back. Yeah, I mean, there's something is up with the mall diamond store industrial complex. We'll see. Okay, I got another video here. I don't know what it's going to be. Oh, this is looking good already. I think the other one's the one that I think everyone will enjoy. We'll see. Yes, the diamond expert. Yes. I think this is the guy who's going to red pill all of us on the diamond business. For sure. If you live in Oklahoma City, you know the BC Clark jingle that's constantly... Okay, yeah. We have this one. What are they? Spence Diamonds. And it's like these like horrific like little skits that they do. And there's one person who does like a fake British accent, and it's like clearly just people who like work there are doing these skits, and they play on our like talk radio stations like constantly. But yeah, this is a guy I think we want to get in. We want to explore the diamond business. This is the guy who's going to set us straight. Rappaport. Rappaport, a strong Anglo name. He's going to know the ins and outs of the biz. I think he's going to steer us straight and true.
Hi, I'm Joshua Friedman, news editor at Rappaport. Welcome to our
Let's go.
Market comment. Before we dive into the latest
You can always trust a British man.
developments, I would like to thank our sponsor, RapNet. Let's get started.
Sponsor RapNet. Let's go.
$20 million on marketing natural diamonds as a category in the US and China this holiday season. The initiative to double down on natural diamonds is called Seize the Day. De Beers successfully used that same name for campaigns in the 1990s and 2000s, which called on men to buy and to buy now for Christmas. This time, Seize the Day will take on a more modern, sometimes light-hearted tone, employing comedy and other script writers to help come up with material. Most of the messaging is based around the idea of diamonds being natural. David Prager, De Beers' executive...
There's another trustworthy fella here. David Prager, that's a strong Germanic name there. But yeah, this is...
Vice President and Chief Brand Officer, noted that this element...
It is a wild choice to be this guy. Be a diamond industry explainer. I mean, it's like because what's normative determinism, I think, is like when the name sort of determines the outcome. What's the way you look version of that? Diamonds can be an important gift for marriage. Well, that's what we're going to find out. Are they really? Are they really? Let's see. Seize the day.
Because it didn't need to be. Way back then, competition with lab-grown diamonds simply did not exist. Crucially, De Beers has also revived the iconic tagline, "A diamond is forever," for this campaign. However, De Beers will not be promoting itself. The company name doesn't even appear in any of the ads. Rather, it's a generic promotion of diamonds. De Beers will even let the trade use the ads for free. The $20 million investment in Seize the Day is in addition to De Beers' current marketing budget, one that includes the minor's financial support of the Natural Diamond Council and the campaign promoting De Beers' own brands. Those include De Beers Jewelers and De Beers Forevermark. The Natural Diamond Council connection is noteworthy. The NDC has been struggling for cash since Russian miner Alrosa stopped funding it after the war in Ukraine began. In other words, Seize the Day is providing a significant boost to diamond marketing exactly when it's needed most. After all, lab-grown diamonds are growing their market share, while consumer spending in the US and China is disconcertingly sluggish. The campaign will run on print, billboards, and digital platforms during the holiday period from November to Christmas in the US. In China, Seize the Day will be seen and heard between the important Singles Day shopping bonanza on November the 11th and Chinese New Year, where it occurs in February 2024. I'd like to add a final point. The industry has been calling for more marketing of diamonds as a category for years. Dealers, manufacturers, and retailers have complained But since De Beers moved away from generic advertising in the 2000s, this gap has never been sufficiently filled. The NDC has made efforts of its own, but has had a hard time of it. Seize the Day might finally be the solution the trade needs. But we cannot talk about this without mentioning what De Beers is not doing. After a 3-month trial of lab-grown engagement rings through its Lightbox brand, De Beers have decided to stop developing that product. Instead, the minor will revert to selling synthetics only for lower-cost, fun fashion jewelry and loose stones. De Beers said that when it comes to bridal jewelry, it doesn't see a profitable future for the lab-grown segment. The big takeaway here is that De Beers, in its own words, is doubling down on natural diamonds. This is probably the best news the industry has heard for several months. If you like this video, please subscribe to get every new one.
Yeah, everyone hit up hit a subscribe on Rappaport Business News. I have a feeling as we delve down various esoteric and dark esoteric group 1488 views. That's odd. I have a feeling that for future investigations too, as we delve down various deep and esoteric tunnels, rabbit holes, if you will, I think we're going to be coming back to Rappaport Business News again and again and again. So everybody, subscribe to Mr. Rappaport. So let me catch up. I was lost in Joshua's tale. Seize the Day. Seize the Day. Is there some esoteric significance to that I should know about? Yeah, weird painting of a horse's ass. There's a giant diamond in Nevada in a time vortex. That's interesting. I don't really know what that means, but a giant diamond in Nevada in a time vortex. But yeah, I have a feeling that Joshua Friedman here from Rappaport News is going to be a valuable source of esoteric noidism going forward. So what did we take away from that video? Basically, I guess that De Beers is trying to double back on natural diamonds. And I would imagine, because like if I'm a diamond business executive, like, you want to be selling natural diamonds at exceptionally high cost, right? Like, you don't want people buying fake diamonds, artificial diamonds. So I guess their plan is that they're going to sell... Because what do you say at the end here?
Seize the Day might finally be the solution the trade needs. But we cannot talk about this without mentioning what De Beers is not doing. After a 3-month trial of lab-grown engagement...
Basically, they're not going to be selling artificial lab-grown diamonds as like engagement things. And I think they want to have them be like, costume jewelry, but they still want people forking out month's wages for a diamond ring. Okay, we do need to... I want to figure out when that started. Please Google. Well, wait, aren't diamonds... what are diamonds made of? Isn't it like carbon or something? Isn't diamonds basically like coal that's gone through... like more... some process or something? When did diamonds become popular for engagement rings? Tons of heat and pressure. But it's diamonds are the same thing as coal, though, right? Like, they're just coal that's been, like, heated and pressurized. Band featured diamonds during the Renaissance. Okay. While diamonds have been used in jewelry for centuries, they became widely popular for engagement rings primarily due to a marketing campaign by De Beers in the mid-20th century. Specifically, De Beers' "Diamond is Forever" slogan launched in 1947 significantly boosted the popularity of diamond engagement rings. This campaign linked diamonds with enduring love and commitment, making them the quintessential symbol of engagement. Okay. We'll find out more about that. Oh, you know what? I think I have the archive link of this article here. Actually, first, let's watch whatever this one is. I think that this, if memory serves, I did this like little bit of pre-research like 2 weeks ago, and then just didn't have time to stream. So I think that this was, I don't know, just from the graphic, I'm like, this is a video that I want to be watching. But I think this was Cecil Rhodes' Secret Society. But I like that it mentions the Trilateral Commission, United Nations, the Bilderberg Group, Royal Institute of International Affairs. What does that say? America, Europe, USA, something. It's really fuzzy, so that's how you know it's real. Q Diamonds Are Forever by Kanye. Yeah, if you want to listen to licensed music, you'll have to do it on your end. Actually, who am I kidding? Every single one of these streams I've ever done has been copywritten, struck for something, so it doesn't really matter. But let's see what's going on in this video, because like Cecil Rhodes, maybe this will learn us on him.
Different groups of these secret societies have emerged for specific tasks. And because the...
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. There's an interesting shape. It's a somewhat interesting shape being formed here. Oh, I can kind of read it a bit better. So we've got Council on Foreign... So we've got the Round Table, which I believe... I might be wrong. This guy can fact check me. I believe that was Cecil Rhodes' like secret society. That was theoretically, I believe, to advance the interests of the British Empire. But then we've got the Council on Foreign Relations, the United Nations, the Bilderberg Group, the Club of Rome, Royal Institute of International Affairs, and the Trilateral Commission. All of them, other than the Royal Institute of International Affairs, I've heard of. I don't really know what they are, but I know that they're deeply noided terms that Noid guys throw around. The Trilateral Commission, the Bilderberg Group, the Club of Rome. Oh, shit. I forgot to plug in my dang soundboard. Give me a moment here. Yeah, okay. I don't know, is anyone familiar with those? I know like the Bilderberg Group is the place you go and do like sinister speeches if you're like David Rockefeller or something. The Trilateral Commission, I actually have no clue what it is, but I've heard Noid guys mention it. It's somewhat interesting that these various circles forming certain shape that I feel like I've seen before. Why is my soundboard not working? Come on. Okay, just a second. Just a second here. Let's go. Okay, let's go. yeah, there's a pedophile ring baked into some or all of these groups. Who knows? Yeah, apparently Cecil Rhodes was possibly into some things, possibly not. Allegedly. I actually didn't hear anyone allege that, but I'm alleging it right now. Somebody's got to allege it. Is Club of Rome like a cheeky take on an actual club? I don't know. You know what? Let's watch this video, and then if he doesn't explain it, we'll maybe look into some of these groups. I have a feeling that this is really all connected. Club of Rome is like a cheeky take on an actual club you smash people with of Rome. Yeah. Club of Rome's, all of these are pretty, well, Club of Rome, Trilateral Commission, and Bilderberg Group are all pretty cool names. United Nations, Council on Foreign Relations. That's another one that Noid guys talk about. The Royal Institute of International Affairs, I've legit never heard of. Oh, yeah, John's probably in his cryo sleep right now. Everyone's, sorry, folks. But the thing is, even when you don't think, John's watching, he's watching. So he's probably actually watching right now. And if anyone gets out of line, well, you know what'll happen. I feel like it all falls in with the Eye of Saturn, folks. What's the Eye of Saturn? Watto here to sell us his precious rocks. Well, let's watch this video here. We'll see, and then we'll dig into what else needs to be dug into. How this connects to the diamond biz, I don't know yet. I think this was a thing Cecil Rhodes founded.
It's a specific time scale, and across the millennium is the time of introduction. Through this century, this agenda has been advanced quicker and quicker and quicker. Towards the end of the last century, and right at the start of this one, a secret society was created in Britain, not surprisingly, called the Round Table. It was headed up originally by a guy called Cecil Rhodes, who was one of the bloodline families that orchestrated the manipulation and takeover of southern Africa by Britain. Also, Rhodes scholarships came out of this guy, Cecil.
This one is, let me see if I can turn up the volume. This video is kind of quiet on its own. Can I... So I'm just seeing if can I turn this up a bit on my end. That's all maxed. Oh, maybe this will turn it up a bit.
Roads. I think I mentioned those earlier, where the youngsters of the bloodlines around the world are picked up and given a Rhodes Scholarship to Oxford University. This comes out of the same guy. Well, he died in 1902, and other people took over. And there were roundtable groups interlocking, set up around the world. The key places were America and Britain. And when we had the First World War, the key people in the American War Administration were members of this roundtable, and the key people...
So he mentioned Cecil Rhodes being part of the bloodline elite. I don't know who this guy is, but he seems... just going to say who this is. This is David Icke? Okay. I didn't know that's what he looked like. So this is the lizard people guy, right? Because my research did not indicate that Cecil Rhodes was a bloodline elite, but he did kind of mysteriously become, the monopoly holder of the global diamond business. So
in the cabinet in Britain were members of this same round table. So they orchestrated the First World War, and afterwards, when they were deciding how the world would be redrawn as a result of the war, the very same members of the Round Table were appointed to the Versailles Peace Conference to decide how it would be set up and redrawn. Classic problem, reaction, solution. Create the problem, create the war, get the reaction, something must be done, and then offer the solution.
Because I'm not super familiar with David Icke. Is it Icke or Ike? Does anyone know? I know he's like the lizard people guy, but is that just him being like clever and metaphorical? Or does he is his thing literally that they're like lizards?
At that Versailles Peace Conference, again,
Ike,
Paris,
okay.
the cities and locations keep reoccurring. They had a meeting at the Hotel Majestic in Paris. In 1919, these roundtable members, both sides of the Atlantic, and they started to orchestrate the creation of offshoot organizations around this central core that would push this agenda on through the 20th century. The first one created was the Royal Institute of International Affairs in 1920 in London, still going strong today, a major part of this network. In 1921, in America, came the Council on Foreign Relations, which is subordinate to the London Royal Institute of International Affairs. Since 1921, virtually every president and endless major positions in the administrations of both parties have been members of the Council on Foreign Relations. You cannot become an ambassador for the United States today without being a member of this private organization. In 1954 came the Bilderberg Group, set up at the Bilderberg Hotel in Oosterbeek, Holland. And this, like the Trilateral Commission that came in 1972-73, these organizations coordinate the same agenda between apparently unconnected areas of our lives. So, for instance, the people that attend and are members of these groups are the top people in the global military, global politics, global banking, global business, global media, etc. And so through these organizations, the same policy is coordinated. And I'll just give you one example of what I mean. The Bosnian War has been an example, magnificent example of all these elements that I'm talking about. First of all, it was problem, reaction, solution. You had the problem, the war, the reaction, something must be done, and the solution, a 60,000-strong world army under NATO control, which has advanced the agenda closer to the world army, which is the great goal of this agenda. People like Henry Kissinger, Kissinger Associates, and Lord Carrington, founding director of Kissinger Associates, were the key manipulators of the Bosnian War, among many others. So when you take that into account, and then you look at these organizations, and you look at the key peace negotiators in Bosnia, throughout that period of that war and conflict, some incredible coincidences start to unfold. When the war started...
Coincidence?
The European Union appointed the first peace negotiator, Lord Carrington. Lord Carrington, founding director of Kissinger Associates that orchestrated the war. Lord Carrington, chairman of the Bilderberg Group since 1991. President of the Royal Institute of International Affairs, Trilateral Commission member. When he failed to achieve peace in Bosnia and the war went on, along came another European Union peace negotiator, Lord David Owen, Bilderberg Group, Trilateral Commission, and he was replaced when the war went on by Carl Bildt, the Swedish Prime Minister, Bilderberg Group. Working with them through this same period were the United Nations appointed peace negotiators. The first one was Cyrus Vance, Bilderberg Group, Trilateral Commission, Council on Foreign Relations. He was replaced by a Norwegian, Thorvald Stoltenberg, Trilateral Commission, Bilderberg Group. The war went on. The horrors went on. The clamor, something must be done, got louder and louder, politically and in terms of the general public. It was time to play the sting. Onto the stage, first of all, came Jimmy Carter, an independent peace negotiator, former president. Jimmy Carter, first Trilateral Commission president of the United States, Council on Foreign Relations member. And then came the team that introduced the sting, the solution, the World Army. This was led by Richard Holbrooke, Bill Clinton's peace envoy. Richard Holbrooke, Bilderberg Group, Trilateral Commission, Council on Foreign Relations. He answered to the Secretary of State at the time in America, Warren Christopher, Trilateral Commission, Council on Foreign Relations, who worked with William Perry, the Defense Secretary at the time, Bilderberg Group, and they answered to the President, Bill Clinton, Bilderberg Group, Trilateral Commission, Council on Foreign Relations, who answered to the unelected David Rockefeller and Henry Kissinger, leading executives of the Bilderberg Group, Trilateral Commission, Council on Foreign Relations. The first head of the World Army appointed in Bosnia was Admiral Leighton Smith, Council on Foreign Relations. And the ambassador in the former Yugoslavia through this period was Warren Zimmerman, Council on Foreign Relations. Just a coincidence, nothing to worry about. But unless you do this research, you think all these people are independent, when actually they're all connected.
Yo, what's up, Legacy? We're trying to find out what the Jews are up to now. That's what this is all about. We're trying to figure it out.
This roundtable network also accounts for the coordination of the media.
I'm gonna guess probably nothing.
Television networks in America, NBC, ABC, CBS. If you look at the Los Angeles Times, the New York,
Probably it's all a coincidence.
Wall Street Journal, etc.
I'm not entirely sure what this has to do with the diamond biz. We'll let David cook for the next 3 minutes.
Looking at the people who control those organizations being members of this same roundtable network. Washington Post, Catherine Graham, Bilderberg Group, Trilateral Commission, Council on Foreign Relations, and so it goes on. So you have a coordinated policy, a coordinated agenda through all these different areas of our lives, including the media, which controls how that agenda and those events that you're creating are actually reported to the people. Complete stitch-up, but it doesn't have to be. It depends on us giving our power away and watching the Price is Right instead of focusing on what's going on in the world and taking responsibility for it so it ceases to happen. Just to finish the sequence, this is the administration of a Democrat, said on his election form, Jimmy Carter, Trilateral Commission member, also Council on Foreign Relations. Democrats, and here's administrations, here's CFR, TC, Trilateral Commission, Council on Foreign Relations. This is more Jimmy Carter, more of the same.
Okay. Listen, they're all part of the Trilateral Commission. They're all part of the Council on Foreign Relations. What are those? We don't know. Yo, what's up, Twenton? What did you miss? What did you miss? I don't know. We're trying to dig into the diamond biz. Have we had any shocking revelations so far? I don't know. Joshua Friedman was telling us about the diamond biz. Rappaport News. Actually, I have an article saved here. So yeah, this one did have an interesting star. The round table. I don't know. We were wondering about his horse painting. What do we think is going on here? What's the significance of this painting? He's a British man, Joshua Friedman, British man, with a kind of weird painting behind him. Yeah, what do we think is the significance here? 6 dots, 6, a horse with a blue tail, 6 dots, 6 points on the Star of David. Shocking stuff. What is British man Joshua Friedman doing with such a painting? What is that? Is that child's blood smudged in the corner there? Yeah, good point. That's true. That actually, now that you mention it, I think this might actually be a coded message for me specifically, because this is a horse leaving, ergo saying goodbye. Goodbye Horses is my favorite song. Is this making sense yet? This is actually deeply terrifying, because clearly this is a coded message, probably a threat. I think this is a threat directed at me from British man Joshua Friedman. Because I think we're getting a little too close to cracking this whole thing wide open. Yeah, Q Lazarus queuing on. Yo, what's up, John? John from his cozy ass bed. What was I telling you guys? I was telling you, even when John doesn't appear to be in chat, he's always watching. You're always in his sights, and if anyone steps out of line for even a second, you know what happens. In 1980, there was a book called Blue-Tailed Horse. Let's dig into this. That's 1920. Let's just edit that quick. This book's looking pretty sinister. $14. Well, I don't know. So it's either a coded reference to me watching this video 1 year after it came out as we try and bust the dark secrets of the diamond biz, which that's what I think. 6 stars, 6 dots, 6 points on the Star of David. Goodbye, horses. Going through the smudge of what I assume is child blood in the corner here. With a rainbow, maybe? I don't know. Sick stuff. Sick stuff. Hell yeah, John on his bed of pillows. Based. Prince Andrew is the 6th and youngest son. We haven't even dug into the Minecraft connection, but I have a feeling it's probably going to come up pretty soon. Google. Blue horses are often depicted to symbolize spirituality and the spiritual realm going beyond the material world. Oh, apparently the Prince Andrew thing is not true. Everybody disregard that. Everybody disregard that Prince Andrew thing. But blue is also the color. If you were drawing a cartoon and you wanted to depict a diamond, what color would you use? Blue. Okay, let's I had a couple articles here. Let's see what I got. Can I not open those links? Blue horses are much better than pale horses. Okay, so this is an article by an Uri Friedman. So I think that'll be a good good source on this. So how an ad campaign invented the diamond engagement ring. Okay, we're a little scattershot here. So I think let's just touch base here. I feel like we've blown a lot of doors wide open already. That was the wrong button. I think we've blown a lot of doors open already. Probably a lot of people don't want us going any further. But listen, guys, we're not going to stop. We're going to keep digging. Until we get to the truth. So, I think so far, my initial thesis still holding pretty strong. We've learned so far that apparently Cecil Rhodes is responsible for the Trilateral Commission. Why did he do that? Something to do with Israel, probably. Oh, yes. Thank you, John. Have we done a deep dive on where everybody's credit cards are? That's a great question. That's the kind of great question that everyone needs to be asking.
Whoa!
So yeah, so far we've learned that Cecil Rhodes used diamonds to found Israel via the Trilateral Commission and the Bilderberg Group, and then that De Beers, you know what, John? I actually started out with the conspiracy hat. It's been a while since we did a true crime for Boyz, and I wanted to get everyone really excited right off the bat. So even though we hadn't hit the dono goal, which is disappointing, it's a little disappointing. I'm wearing the hat. I thought it was worth it to just get everyone really excited. Just get the chat excited right off the bat. They saw the hat and they're like, oh, hell yeah, let's go. Russ Prism dropping that 20 directly to Israel. just a kidding. But yes, thank you, brother. $20 for Chrome Desia. Yeah. Well, all right, if you're taking off, take her easy, John. We'll catch you on Sonic Wednesday, when I'm sure lots of rapscallions will be, after all the secrets that we've busted open so far tonight, I think we can expect some some sinister operatives in Sonic Wednesday going forward. People are definitely going to try and shut this down. Horse with blue... I'm thinking it's custom, the horse painting. I feel like this is a custom Joshua Friedman original. Yeah, if the channel lasts till Wednesday, good point. Good point. I mean, we've been making some connections here. Look at this graphic. Look at this graphic behind this guy. I'm pretty sure nobody wants us seeing this graphic, because it just kind of ties everything together. The Club of Rome, connected to the Trilateral Commission with kind of fuzzy, indecipherable text. United something? The Club of Rome connected to the Trilateral Commission with United something? The Bilderberg Group connected to the Royal Institute of International Affairs via environmental eugenics? Did you cover any ancient alchemists on your diamond discovery? No. No, we have not. I think I have a list going of some future topics. It kind of appears so far that the diamond business actually connects everything to everything. But so far we've kind of been starting our journey at Cecil Rhodes and like the, South Africa and I forget the years, like late 1890s or something. And then the ad campaign, which we're going to read about soon, I think that's from the 30s and the 1930s. There were 2 kids who tried to revive their mom, but I don't know of any others. Sorry, what's that in reference to? The blue-tailed horse? Is that a blue-tailed horse reference? But yeah, I think we have some good ones. I've been reading up on Jack Parsons, so I think he might be next, or we might do L. Ron Hubbard. I might connect those two. But the diamond biz does appear to have, just look at the freaking graphic, folks. There's a lot going on with the diamond biz. A lot going on. We're in for the long haul on this. Let's introduce everyone to Cecil and the country he founded. Yeah, okay. Listen, do we want me to read the how an ad campaign invented the diamond engagement ring, which I think is interesting, or do we want to go back in time to Rhodesia and Cecil Rhodes? Oh, that's a Full Metal Alchemist reference. I've famously only seen 3 animes. Because famously, diamonds are only actually valuable to Jewish Minecraft NPCs. Well, that sort of was the initial thesis of the whole thing. The Minecraft stuff's an interesting twist. But the initial thesis was that diamonds were sort of artificially scarce and artificially made valuable through a certain type of propaganda campaign. And so far, in the first hour, I think we've discovered that it goes so much deeper than any of us were possibly expecting or ready for. But yeah, let's do this article, and then we'll circle back. We'll circle back to Cecil, because I've done a little tiny bit of research on Cecil Rhodes, and there's some interesting stuff there, possibly. Although, honestly, from what I saw, he was kind of based, actually. But now I don't even know. It's just like oil. They said they would run out of oil in 2005, then 2015, and then 2020. But we keep finding more. Is anyone familiar with that whole, like, oil is like a renewable resource thing? Is that true? I've never looked into it. Diamonds are relatively common, but they heard there's some arbitrary rating for them. What defines its value? Yeah, well, and that's the the whole thing now is I think you can just, like, manufacture one, and it's, like, just as good as one of these ones, but, like, they're expecting you to pay, like, what does a diamond ring go for? Like, probably, like, 5 figures? Maybe more, maybe less. Anyway, let's check out this article here. This is from Yuri Friedman, German fella. When I decided to propose to the woman who is now my wife, I gave a lot of thought to how I was going to do it, but I didn't think much about what I was going to do it with. Not only did a diamond ring seem the logical, nay, the inevitable choice, but I had just the very diamond. My grandfather had scrounged up enough money to buy a diamond ring for my grandmother in the early 1950s, and the stone had passed to me when he passed away. I reset the diamond in a more modern band, got the ring appraised, and slipped it on my fiance's finger. Beautiful. Beautiful stuff. 10 to 15K for natural. Okay. Unironically, it was a 3-letter agency called the GIA. Okay. Sorry, what does the G stand for? And also the I and the A. This is the diamond rating system. I guess I can look that up. Google wants to know my location. Yeah, no, we're not going to be doing that. We'll be continuing without an address. Oh, Gemological Institute of America. Okay, that's, I thought it was going to be like the, I don't know. I didn't actually think anything about it, but okay, so the GIA are the ones who tell you if your diamond is worth, what's it's worth. Okay. Okay, back to Uri Friedman's story. It was a beautiful moment, a gesture of love and commitment spanning generations, and it was also exactly what De Beers Consolidated Minds Limited wanted. I was a century-old market campaign actualized, and I'm far from alone. 3/4 of American brides wear a diamond engagement ring, which now costs an average of $4,000. And this is $2015. Okay, that's not that long ago. Who runs the world? That's right, girls. Yeah, honestly, I know a lot of people here are going to have some crazy ideas and immediately run to the J-ish question. I feel like there's probably an element here that probably should be addressed of the WQ, if you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, the girl investment agency. Yeah. Beautiful $4,000. Every so often, an article comes along that makes you thoroughly rethink a rote practice. Edward J. Epstein. Okay, can someone fact check me on this? Wasn't Jeffrey Epstein's name Jeffrey Edward Epstein? Am I imagining that? Edward J. Epstein's Have You Ever Tried to Sell a Diamond? From 1982, from Edward J. Epstein. Okay, that sounds... That's interesting. We'll check out that story after this one. Have You Ever Tried to Sell a Diamond was one of them. In his 1982 Atlantic story, the investigative journalist deconstructed what he termed the diamond invention, the creation of the idea that diamonds are rare and valuable and are essential signs of esteem. The hole goes deeper. Yes, indeed. Goblin Slayer, I think he means the eternal. Yeah, man. At the end of the day, that's what we're doing here. We're going to bust open the Eternal Anglo. Let's go. Jeffrey Donald Clinton Epstein. Yeah, man. That invention is surprisingly recent. Epstein traces its origins to the discovery of massive diamond mines in South Africa in the late 19th century. That's our friend Cecil. Which for the first time flooded world markets with diamonds. The British businessmen operating the South African mines recognized that only by maintaining the fiction that diamonds were scarce and inherently valuable could they protect their investments and buoy investment prices. They did so by launching a South Africa-based cartel, De Beers Consolidated Mines Limited, now De Beers, in 1888 and meticulously extending the company's control over all facets of the diamond trade in the ensuing decades. So how, I wonder aloud, how did the British-run Africa-based global diamond monopoly, how did that end up in Israel? But actually, what percentage of the world's diamonds are moving through Israel? Diamond production by country. Russia. Okay, let's do polished. Okay, well this is where they're mined. I like how you have Canada here with all these real good countries like Botswana, Congo, Angola, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Namibia. List of countries by diamond exports. India, United States. All right, well, there's a few ahead of them here. I honestly didn't think we would be mentioning Israel at all tonight. That was not my intention. Israeli companies import approximately 1/3 of the world's rough diamonds, acting as a major hub in the global diamond processing Israeli diamond industry. Historically, 40 to 50% of polished diamonds worldwide would pass through Tel Aviv at the height of Israel's processing activity. As recently as 2016, Israel accounted for about 12% of the value of the world's polished diamond production. So how did that happen, I wonder? How did like the British running a diamond monopoly in Africa end up with occasionally at some points apparently 50% of diamonds going through Israel? I really didn't think Israel was going to come up tonight. That was not my intention. That was not my intention. Most remarkably, De Beers manipulated not just supply, but demand. In 1938, amid the ravages of the Depression and the rumblings of war, Harry Oppenheimer, the De Beers founder's son, recruited the New York-based ad agency N.W. Iyer. Can we get an N.W. Iyer tower in chat, boys? To burnish the image of diamonds in the United States, where the practice of giving diamond engagement rings had been unevenly gaining traction for years, but where the diamonds sold were increasingly small and low quality. All right, let's get that. I see the N's in chat. Let's get the W. Let's get the W Iyer going. Shout out N.W. Iyer. Okay. A lot of it's odd how everybody involved in this story has the same name of like, oh, no, get that I out of there. There's no I in W Iyer. It's odd how everyone in this story has like the same name as some other person. David Iyer, training day fame. Interesting. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of letters that aren't in N.W. Iyer. There's no I or G in N.W. Iyer. We're just trying to shout out the good work done by the N.W. Iyer advertising agency to help the diamond business during the Great Depression. Great patriots. All right, I think that's enough of the tower. You guys are flubbing it. I hate to say it, but you guys have flubbed the N.W. Iyer tower. So I'm taking away your... No, you're still getting it. I think that's enough of the tower here. Meanwhile, the price of diamonds was falling around the world. The folks at Iyer set out to persuade young men that diamonds, and only diamonds, were synonymous with romance, and that the man's measure of love, and even his personal and professional success, was directly proportional to the size and quality of the diamond he purchased. Young women, in turn, had to be convinced that courtship concluded invariably in a diamond. Yeah, we tried. We got an N-ray. That is cool. Shout out the N-ray. Oh, what's up, Sarah? Welcome to True Crime for Boys, the thinking smart little boys true crime stream. We're just busting into the diamond biz. Yes, we are talking about how diamonds are useless. That's the, yeah. We're operating off the baseline thesis that we all had, that we all agreed on right at the beginning of the show. And our goal is to slowly find facts that reinforce our initial impression, was that basically that diamonds are useless, and that in the late 19th century, starting around Cecil Rhodes, there was a conspiracy to monopolize the production of diamonds, and then a coordinated propaganda campaign to convince people that they were an essential part of the human reproductive process. So we've learned some pretty shocking things so far, including this graphic: Trilateral Commission, Club of Rome, Bilderberg Group, interesting shape, so forth. And now we're reading some articles about the advertising campaign. Then I think we'll circle back, maybe do some more Cecil Rhodes stuff. Diamonds suck. I think diamonds suck. And in a shocking twist, it keeps coming back to Israel, which, as I've said multiple times, I had no intention of mentioning Israel in this show. I didn't think it would happen. I thought we were going to be talking about British guys. But it keeps linking back to that. I'm trying to avoid it as best I can. I assume we'll get to the British later, but just for posterity's sake, I was not planning to touch Israel at all tonight. I would really prefer if that didn't come up at all. If we could find some sources that maybe don't mention that would be awesome. But you know what? That's part of being a detective, and you guys are the junior detectives here. You gotta go where the case takes you. You just gotta follow the case. I don't wear one. My husband gave me one he inherited as an engagement ring, but I only wear a simple silver clada. Yeah, I mean, I wonder if, because where was it? I think it was in this article, which is from 2015. It said 3/4 of American brides are wearing diamond engagement rings, which now cost an average of $4,000. And this is 2015. But it is it's insanely expensive. And I think there's sort of the obvious problem in the whole thing is that even natural diamonds, I don't think are nearly as valuable as they kind of pretend to be, right? Plus you can just make fake ones that I think are probably indecipherable from a natural diamond, right? I think they literally make them in the same way. They just have some giant oven or whatever that replicates it. I think buying a nice engagement ring is nice. Yeah, I mean, I think there's... Yeah, sure. I think having an engagement ring is nice, but one of the ads we had, what was it? Was it this one? It was just sort of being yeah, you got to spend 2 months of wages on it.
How else could 2 months' salary last forever?
How else could 2 months' salary last forever? But, Hugh, you are Russ from True Detective. Do the dirty work no one else wants to do. It had to happen, man. You got to find facts, as inconvenient as they may be. True. That's my detective motto. I believe it's I believe it's pressure that makes a diamond. True. Real. That's exactly what's happening to all of us right now. An oven they make diamonds in. Hey man, you said it, not me. It doesn't last forever, it depreciates right away. Is that in terms of the value, or do diamonds actually rot or whatever? I think the ring itself should be more important than the jewel. Yeah. But that's kind of like the core of this whole thing, is we're trying to figure out, like, how did this happen? Because, like, at a certain point, it was not expected that your average person is going to spend, like, months of their salary to buy a diamond ring in order to, like, be able to get married, right? Yo, what's up? What's up, Nick? $20,000 for the equipment to make diamonds in your garage. Is it that easy? I mean, $20,000 is a bit of an investment, but it's just an oven, right? It's just like a specialized oven with, like, made of, like, wood or something, I think. Already read that. My wife has a morganite ring, more rare than diamond and way cheaper. The value depreciates. People want new diamonds and not used ones. Okay. Why do people want new diamonds? Surely it doesn't matter at all, right? Like, because, yeah, I think diamonds are sort of famously rather, like, inert. So you pressurize the wooden oven as well as several gases and regulators. Do you literally just put a lump of coal into the wooden oven and the pressurized gases turn it into a diamond eventually? That's interesting. But yeah, because I think there's just been, like, a multi-decade scam has been perpetrated upon us all by the diamond biz, which, as we learned from this fuzzy graphic, is linked to the Trilateral Commission, the Council on Foreign Relations, the United Nations, the Bilderberg Group, and the Club of Rome, and also apparently the Bosnian War. I didn't quite get the connection with the Bosnian War, but I'm sure as we read a few more Uri Friedman banger articles in The Atlantic, all will become clear. A new diamond, as in the sense of it's not once used for somebody's failed marriage. Okay, yeah. I mean, I guess, yeah, you don't want an unlucky failed diamond. People want to know the diamond wasn't made using child labor and whatnot. They want to know that it's the one they own. It's a whole thing. Like, if you don't want it to be owned by, made by child labor, which I personally kind of doubt that many people really care about, wouldn't you just get the manufactured one? Carson carbide dioxide gases, as well as a physical catalyst for it to attach to, usually not coal. Oh, okay. Use a diamond seed. Yeah. They want the diamonds or with the right papers or whatever. Okay. I think having a blood diamond is pretty cooler, actually. Way cooler than a lame... Yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if I'm dropping $15,000 on a diamond, I don't want one that was made in a freaking wooden oven. I want one that, like, several children had to smuggle through, like, warlord territory and stuff. Myron Gates, it hasn't been cursed by divorce and the demons that are unborn kids. Yeah, man. Diamonds in Bosnia. They've been gaslit that cubic zirconium or whatever sucks. Yeah, this is just a giant intergenerational gaslight. I think that's what... Well, frankly, that was kind of the thesis going into this, but it's just being reinforced over and over and over again. Value of diamonds is maintained by controlling mineral extraction rights and mineral extraction sites. Northwest Territory Ice Road serves all of Canada's diamond mines. I've worked on the ice road and in the mine. Damn. I'll try to remember some ice road and mine pictures in the Discord. Join the Patreon for access. True. You're going to want to get your credit cards out right now to join the Patreon, to join the Discord, to learn even more esoteric truths. Available only on the Chrome Boys Discord. We're only scratching the surface here. what happens on the streams is really, no offense, it's for the uninitiated. The real ish goes down in the Chrome Boys Discord. Anyway, back to the learning about the foundations of the diamond propaganda scheme. What I might do next week is we'll see if we'll continue this. Maybe we'll wrap the case tonight. We'll see. But I have a copy of the book Propaganda by Edward Bernays, which might be interesting to bust through a couple chapters of. But anyway, for now, we're continuing on with Uri Friedman's banger expose on the diamond biz. De Beers establishes its monopoly. 1888. 88. That's 3 8s, people. 888 minus 222, which equals 6, equals 666. Is it making sense yet? Most remarkably, De Beers manipulated not... Oh, okay, we already read that one. Meanwhile, the price of diamonds was falling around the world. The folks at Ayer set out to persuade... Oh, I already read that one too. Okay. Ice road mechanic. Yeah, Nick was an ice road trucker. 2 3 times is 6. 666, 888. I will say men suddenly get very interested in how diamonds are a total sham right around the time they have to buy an engagement ring. I mean, I feel like that's not so much like it's kind of like, they cost how much? That kind of makes sense while that's like the time when you would get interested in like why exactly the diamond cost $10,000. To me that seems logical. I see what you're saying, but it kind of makes sense to me that when like staring down the barrel of spending $10,000 plus possibly on something that like obviously isn't really worth that much, that you might start asking some questions as to why this costs as much as a car. But true. Ayer insinuated these messages into the nooks and crannies of popular culture. It marketed an idea, not a diamond or a brand. I let women know I will not be buying them a ring of diamond. I will learn to become a hobbyist jeweler and make them a custom ring. That's a good idea. You could also apparently spend $20,000 and build an oven in your garage and generate them custom diamonds. Movie idols, the paragons of romance for the mass audience, would be given diamonds to use as their symbols of indestructible love. Movies. In addition, the agency suggested offering stories and society photograph to selected magazines and newspapers, which would reinforce the link between diamonds and romance. The media. Stories would stress the size of the diamonds that celebrities presented to their loved ones. Celebrities. Stories would stress the size of the diamonds that celebrities presented to their loved ones, and photographs would conspicuously show the glittering stone on the hand of a well-known woman. Fashion designers would talk on radio programs about the trend towards diamonds that Ayer planned to start. In its 1947 strategy plan, the advertising agency outlined a subtle program that included arranging for lecturers to visit high schools across the country. All of these lectures revolved around the diamond engagement ring and reaching thousands of girls in their assemblies, classes, and informal meetings in our leading educational institutions. The agency explained in a memorandum to De Beers, the agency had organized in 1946 a weekly service called Hollywood Personalities, which provided 125 leading newspapers with descriptions of the diamonds worn by movie stars. In 1947, the agency commissioned a series of portraits of engaged socialites. The idea was to create prestigious role models for the poorer middle-class wage earners. The advertising agency explained in its 1948 strategy paper, "We spread the word of diamonds worn by stars of screen and stage, by wives and daughters of political leaders, by any woman who can make the grocer's wife and the mechanic's sweetheart say, 'I wish I had what she has.'" Build the oven and bake the cookies. Posted an Ice Road video on the Discord. Join Patreon. Credit cards out. I would love a cursed Victorian ring of a dark and mysterious provenance. Yeah, real. I mean, I feel like it would be more cool to get some like old diamond than like a new one. Personally, I mean, I can kind of see you don't want one that's like a failed divorce diamond, but I mean, I feel like having an old one would be cool. Like, presumably the diamond's just as good. But that's kind of what we're covering. We're covering the scheme that convinced people that they need to spend all this money to be like a movie star to get a diamond. There are only 2 ways to make diamonds, but I only know the high-pressure, high-temperature way. There's a vapor process. But yeah, having some like scary haunted diamond would be kind of cool, I think. Diamond prices are dropping every year due to more and more artificial diamonds being created. Yeah, we were talking about that early on, and our friend Joshua Friedman here from Rappaport News, hit subscribe. He of the sinister Goodbye Horses painting that may or may not be a coded threat towards me personally. He was kind of red-pilling us on the situation with natural versus artificial diamonds. I guess De Beers is kind of pulling out all the stops to get people spending on natural diamonds. They're bringing out the what was the campaign they're busting out again? I think it was the Diamonds Are Forever one, or like Seize the Day. But yeah, no, it's a big thing. The Chinese love their artificial diamonds. Everyone's panicking. Everyone's panicking in the diamond business. They're going to be panicking more when they see that this video's been published. When this investigation's been published. My professor had a lab and gave out small diamonds to everyone. Oh, that's cool. You like the haunted shit? I'm with Jordan. Not good. Stay away from that shit. Well, yeah. I mean, it is what it is. I'm personally not susceptible to haunted stuff. Some people may be. If you're I forget when I was talking about this. It might be on the forever lost Drown God stream that nobody will ever see ever again. But I think if you're like a Mexican man who like cries a lot, you should definitely stay away from haunted stuff. If you're like a Neil deGrasse Tyson guy like me, it's no big deal. It's fine. Yeah, Myron's with me on the HQ, the haunted question. I mean, I don't know if I would go out of my way to like surround myself with haunted objects, but I feel like if I was to encounter one, for me personally, it probably wouldn't be a big deal. In the late 1940s, just before my grandfather started hunting for his diamond ring, an Ayer copywriter conceived the slogan that De Beers has used ever since: "A diamond is forever." Even though diamonds can in fact be shattered, chipped, discolored, or incinerated to ash, the concept of eternity perfectly captured the magical qualities that the advertising agency wanted to attribute to diamonds. Epstein writes, "A diamond that's forever promises endless romance and companionship. But a forever diamond is also one that's not resold. Resold diamonds, and it's maddeningly hard to resell them, as Epstein's article details, cause fluctuations in diamond prices which undermine public confidence in the intrinsic value of diamonds. Diamonds that are stowed away in safe deposit box or bequeathed to grandchildren don't." I think the more important thing instead of the ring is survival. I feel like the whole ring thing is kind of odd, and I'd rather not pay someone $5,000 for an object that this woman is going to lose. Well, I hope she wouldn't lose it. But, yeah. Did Don Draper have anything to do with this? I'm going to go ahead and say yes. The real, not the TV show Don Draper. I'm thinking like the real life Don Draper probably had something to do with it. Like the real guy that the TV show is based on. He probably had some. He was that NWI copywriter, N-Ray as we like to call him. Diamonds are not forever. Right. Well, the purpose of the ad campaign was to convince people that they were, in fact, forever. From 1939 to 1979, De Beers wholesale diamonds in the United States wholesale diamond sales in the United States increased from 23 million to 2.1 billion. Over those 4 decades, the company's ad budget soared from $200,000 to $10 million a year. That's a pretty good ROI. My wife has a Morganite ring. It was $500. I got it for our 3rd anniversary. Is Morganite like is that like a type of artificial diamond, or is that like just like a whole different type of stone? Ooh, 1960 De Beers ad. Can I zoom in on that? Look at that happy girl. Okay, that's a little small. Let's see. Okay, this is from a 1960s De Beers ad. It's a happy girl over here. Zoom in a little bit more for my poor eyes. Look how happy she is with her giant diamond. Okay, probably not going to be able to read that bottom part. Promise of the heart, told in a diamond's flame. Happily, she dreams upon the promise she has given, dreams of her loved one and their new life to be. She is engaged, and on her finger her engagement diamond tells the joys and hopes 2 hearts now share. Wrought in earth for one man and one woman, this flaming gem will ever hold the memory of their promise, the message of their love. Your ringstone may be modest in size, but it should be chosen with care, for it will be cherished always by you and all who follow. Interesting stuff. I'm organic as a natural occurring stone. It seems to be a pink diamond. Oh, this is Morganite. Morganite's like a pink diamond. Interesting. De Beers and its marketers proved extraordinarily adaptable at molding public perceptions. When the U.S. engagement market seemed tapped out, a new campaign promoted the gift of a second diamond as a way to reaffirm romance later in marriage. Interesting. When small Soviet diamonds entered the market, people were told that the size of the diamonds, as opposed to their quality, color, and cut, or the mere gesture of buying a diamond in the first place, didn't matter much after all. Some gambits backfired, like the diamond ring for men's misadventure of the 1980s. Every year on our anniversary, we meet up and discuss what we love about each other and what we feel that we need to work on. Our marriage is just like a one-year lease we keep renewing. It's a very business mindset marriage. Okay, that link doesn't go anywhere, but what I'm taking this parentheses to mean is that in the 1980s they tried to do an ad campaign where if you cheated on a wife, you'd buy her a diamond to make up for it. I guess. And when De Beers sought to expand internationally in the mid-1960s, it didn't flinch at entering markets like Japan's, where deeply rooted traditions of arranged marriages left little space for premarital romance, let alone diamond engagement rings. De Beers, Epstein writes, aggressively marketed diamond rings in Japan as tokens of modern Western values. In 1967, when the campaign began, less than 5% of betrothed Japanese women had a diamond engagement ring. By 1981, that figure had risen to 60%, and Japan had become the second largest market after the United States for diamond engagement rings. They're really getting really good ROI on this on these advertising campaigns. De Beers conjured up $1 billion a year diamond market in Japan, where matrimonial custom had survived feudal revolutions, world wars, industrialization, and even American occupation, Epstein marvels. Ooh, there's a Japanese De Beers ad.
Study. つけたまま寝ちゃったダイヤモンド人が喜ぶかもって言うななんでいやいいじゃんおはよう。昨日はありがとう。あなたの気持ちが輝いている私の中でずっとダイヤモンドは永遠の輝き。
Interesting. How much of our lives are dictated by mid-20th century advertising campaigns? Mine I worked at in 2015, Gaucho discovered so many diamonds they had to close the mine for years. Value was created with artificial scarcity. Yeah. Wasn't that the thing in the Blood Diamond movie with Leonardo DiCaprio? That documentary? Where they, because I think that was the whole De Beers thing, is they had so many diamonds, but since they controlled, they were a monopoly, so they made them appear more scarce. I guess they're still doing that in 2015. But I mean, yeah, I mean it does kind of seem like I guess if you were king or whatever, they would have diamonds and jewels, and there is probably some innate lizard brain fondness for like little shiny rocks, right? Like that doesn't seem crazy. There's probably some like innate enjoyment of those things, but it really seems like the way it's been integrated into kind of like specifically like romance is basically a function of an advertisement campaign. Anyway, De Beers had far more success in Japan than it did in other countries like Brazil. Brazil mentioned. Where both women and men typically wear a single band on their right hand while engaged and switch the ring to their left hand once married. That's interesting. But the social transformation that took place in Japan in the 1970s may be repeating itself today in China, where according to a recent Citigroup report, which relies on De Beers data, more than 30% of Chinese brides now receive diamond engagement rings. The practice barely existed in the country in the 1990s. Nobody is immune to propaganda, and maybe we've all just been effectively gaslighting each other about it, about everything for the hell of it. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah. That's why I think next week we'll start reading through like a chapter at a time or something of Edward Bernays' propaganda book, because he was one of the guys at like the beginning of the public relations business, which in a somewhat interesting twist kind of grew out of the like propaganda departments during I think the First World War maybe, and like in a sort of concerted act of propaganda, the propaganda industry rebranded itself as public relations. It's an interesting book that sort of relevant to a lot of this stuff. So yeah, they busted into China. A 2014 report by Bain and Company similarly noted that China, India, and the United States will drive the majority of growth in the diamond jewelry consumption over the next decade, in part because of growing interest in diamond engagement rings in India and China, and stable interest in the United States. The question is, who did this advertising campaign work on? I mean, this diamond one specifically seemed to have worked on a lot of people, because like just from numbers we've seen thrown out tonight, like 3/4 of American women in 2015 had diamond engagement rings. Japan went from essentially 0 to 60%. China went from 0 to like 30%. So like pretty big numbers here. Did it just propagandize women to nag their boyfriends into buying this crap? I mean, I think that's half of it. My take is that it hit both of the sexes in different ways. But essentially, yes. Before the internet, everyone thought this was how it always was, and the true rings were used to signify marriage for a long time in many cultures, but diamonds are a psyop. Yeah, because, I mean, from what I've gathered here is, like, pre-1930 or whatever, like, it wasn't a thing for a normal person to have to get a diamond ring. Look at the old Irish Claddagh ring, no diamonds. Yeah, I think Sarah mentioned that she has a Claddagh ring. De Beers is still a major player in the diamond industry, though it's not as dominant as it once was. The copywriter behind Diamonds is Forever passed away in 1999, and N.W. Iyer ceased operations 3 years later. But the diamond invention lives on. All right, thank you, Uri. Interesting article. Thank you. And then we have this. Oh, that's a long one. Article from Edward J. Epstein. Have you ever tried to sell a diamond? And this one is from the 80s. So you see if there's a little video here. Let's do Cecil Rhodes diamonds. Let's do a little break for some Cecil Rhodes stuff here. That's the thing when I was trying to do a little bit of Cecil Rhodes Oh boy. Oh boy, Cecil. Oh boy. It's tough to find a fair and balanced take on Mr. Rhodes. How's he putting that in the thumbnail? Come on. Because like when you look up Cecil Rhodes, there's a lot of like Cecil Rhodes was an alt-right Proud Boy type stuff. He's become, as you might guess, rather controversial in recent years, believe it or not, for reasons other than sort of starting the ball rolling on the diamond scam. For other reasons, he's become... I can't believe that's in the thumbnail. Come on! He's become kind of controversial. So yeah, when you're trying to look up Cecil Rhodes stuff, you get a lot of stuff like this. That's crazy. And then there was one that was kind of awesome. That was the one where I heard that about his like secret society of like boys. Because I think he might have been like a Kevin Spacey style guy, if you follow my drift, who really preferred the company of boys. But yeah, that one was dictated by a guy who kind of sounded like he had Down syndrome. So it was like Cecil Rhodes was a Rothschild plant from the British Empire. And that one was pretty good. But then, yeah, you got a lot of people who got all into... Okay, I'm going to be real. This thumbnail kind of has me wanting to read this. And one thing I came across was that he was a big proponent of... Because he was like Prime Minister of South Africa before Rhodesia. And he had some bill that he passed that I believe was like literally called the right to womp your bill. I can't believe that's in the thumbnail.
Cecil John Rhodes, born in 1853 as the sickly son of an English clergyman, he led an unremarkable early life in Hertfordshire.
Early life? But David Icke assured me he was part of the bloodline elite.
Cecil would go on to amass a fortune, though, through ruthless exploitation and genocide, despite his upbringing in the Church of England. In 1870, at the age of 17, Cecil was dispatched by his family to South Africa, a land abuzz with the recent diamond discoveries, presenting a promising opportunity for the young man to secure a brighter financial future. In 1871, upon his arrival in Natal, South Africa, Cecil initially joins his brother on a cotton farm. However, the discovery of diamonds in Kimberley just a year prior had sparked a massive diamond rush, and Cecil quickly abandons farming for the booming mining fields. In 1888, a pivotal moment emerges as Cecil partners with influential financiers such as the Rothschilds to establish De Beers Consolidated Mines Limited. Through a calculated series of mergers and acquisitions, often employing unethical or illegal tactics allegedly, De Beers solidifies its position in the industry. The initial discovery of diamonds in Kimberley was on land belonging to the Griqua people, an indigenous group. European prospectors, however, used dubious treaties and exploited power imbalances. The implicit threat of violence influenced the Griquas' decisions when negotiating the treaties to gain control of the land. Fresh off his success with De Beers, Cecil Rhodes wasn't content with just controlling the diamond market. By 1888, a new glint caught his eye: the vast unexplored territories of southern Africa, rumored to be brimming with gold. But there was one major obstacle. British control didn't extend far enough. Undeterred, Rhodes, the master manipulator, swung into action. He wooed investors and pressured British politicians. His vision: a colossal chartered company, a private enterprise with the backing of the British government to seize and develop these territories. In 1889, he got his wish. Queen Victoria herself granted a royal charter to the British South Africa Company, or BSAC, with Rhodes as its head. This wasn't some explorers club setting off for it. The BSA...
Just a note, this cartoon, the Colossus of Rhodes, or no, the Rhodes Colossus, is pretty awesome. Just saying.
He was a ruthless profit machine. Rhodes saw himself as a modern-day empire builder, destined to paint southern Africa red on the map, the color of blood in the British Empire. The BSAC's land acquisition tactics amounted to ethnic cleansing. They used violence, intimidation, and dubious treaties to drive indigenous populations from their ancestral lands. These communities, who had lived in relative peace and harmony for centuries, were fractured and displaced. This company, and the man who wielded its power, would forever alter the landscape of southern Africa, leaving a legacy of wealth built on exploitation and genocide. Many Africans today understandably consider Rhodes British equivalent of Hitler, a monster whose greed and racism caused immense suffering and death. Cecil saw himself as a modern-day conquistador, a man destined for fame and fortune. But this expansion came at a horrific price, a price that millions of Africans paid with their lives. He was a ruthless opportunist with a thirst for power and a deep-seated prejudice towards Africans. Rhodes is frequently quoted using the N-word, highlighting his contempt for the indigenous peoples of the continent. The BSAC's land acquisition tactics were nothing short of brutal. Treaties were strong-armed, often signed by unsuspecting tribal leaders who didn't understand the true implications. Violence and intimidation became their chilling calling card, silencing any African who dared to speak out against the company's tyranny. This wasn't mere posturing. It was a calculated strategy to fracture and displace centuries-old communities from their motherland. Rhodesia, a name echoing the controversial figure Cecil John Rhodes, was originally used informally by European settlers to refer to the region he played a key role in colonizing through the British South Africa Company. Eventually, Rhodesia became official for the Southern Territory, now Zimbabwe, after gaining self-governance within the British Empire, while the Northern Territory, now Zambia, was called Northern Rhodesia. Many Africans today see Rhodes not as a great explorer, but as a villain whose actions mirrored those of the worst tyrants. His name stands as a symbol of a time when greed and prejudice trampled on their human rights. Cecil John Rhodes' legacy is one of the many despicable chapters in Western history. His wealth came at the devastating cost of Africa.
So I don't know what to think now. I don't know what to think now. Is he based or cringe? Yeah, man. That soundboard is already paying for itself. We actually had one when we used to do the live show. Nick loaned us a soundboard that we used. So we got a lot of you at the live show. I would usually be too socially anxious to say anything, so I would just constantly like, boing, just do that over and over again. People loved it. Yeah, that's okay. Well, yeah, it's 1 for bass, 2 for cringe. Yeah, yeah. Let's get some 1s and 2s. Is Cecil Rhodes based or cringe? 1 for based, 2 for cringe. Because yeah, you get a lot of the. I feel like a lot of the Cecil Rhodes content online, it'll kind of focus on things such as this thumbnail. But they won't really get into the diamond scam. Which I'm not entirely sure to what degree he was involved in. Because my understanding is he was like backed by the Diamond Syndicate and the Rothschilds when he was like establishing his monopoly. But I mean, he would have been kind of long gone when the NWI campaign. Is that actually him? No, there can't be. No, there wouldn't be video of him, I don't think. Let's check out this video anyway.
In the 1870s, the land around the little town of Kimberley, in what is now South Africa, was found to contain the richest deposits of diamonds in the world.
The richest deposits of diamonds in the world.
Europeans in search of quick and easy profits rushed into the area. Among them was a young Englishman who'd come to South Africa at the age of 17. His name was Cecil Rhodes.
Name was Cecil Rhodes.
In spite of his youth, Rhodes quickly learned that the path to great personal wealth led through great personal power. He set out to win that power by getting control.
Power. Hey, look, there's a good-looking video right there. The Occult Teachings of Rick Rubin. Okay. Let's check out this Jeffrey Epstein article. A lot of people don't know that Jeffrey Epstein was actually The Atlantic reporter on the Diamond Beat in the 80s. So just to clarify, this article is by the Jeffrey Epstein. So we'll see what he has to say. The diamond invention, the creation of the idea that diamonds are rare and valuable and are essential signs of esteem, is a relatively recent development in the history of the diamond trade. Until the late 19th century, diamonds were found only in a few riverbeds in India and in the jungles of Brazil, and the entire world production of gem diamonds amounted to a few pounds a year. In 1870, however, huge diamond mines were discovered near the Orange River in South Africa, where diamonds were soon being scooped out by the ton. Suddenly, the market was deluged with diamonds. The British financiers who had organized the South African mines quickly realized that their investment was endangered. Diamonds had little intrinsic value, and their price depended almost entirely on their scarcity. The financiers feared that when new diamond mines were developed in South Africa, diamonds would become at best only semi-precious gems. The major investors in the diamond mines realized that they had no alternative but to merge their interests into a single entity that would be powerful enough to control production and perpetuate the illusion of scarcity of diamonds. The instrument then created in 1888 was called De Beers Consolidated Diamond Mines. Incorporated in South Africa, as De Beers took control of all aspects of the world diamond trade, it assumed many forms. In London, it operated under the innocuous name of the Diamond Trading Company. In Israel, the company was known as the Syndicate. In Europe, it was called the CSO, initials referring to the Central Selling Organization. Sorry, I stepped out for a minute. Has it gotten to the Jewish bit yet? Hopefully not. I'm hoping not. Cecil Rhodes, the British financier from England? Yeah. I'll call them Mrs. Rhodes. Yeah, no, I don't think, at least to my recollection, I don't think Jewish stuff has come up at all here. I don't think any Jewish stuff has come up at all. In Europe, it was called the CSO, the Central Selling Organization, which was an arm of the Diamond Trading Company. And in Black Africa, it disguised its South African origins under subsidiaries with names like Diamond Development Corporation and Mining Services Incorporated. At its height, for most of this century, it not only either directly owned or controlled all the diamond mines in southern Africa, but also owned diamond trading companies in England, Portugal, in England, Portugal, Belgium, Holland, and Switzerland. YouTube gets crazy defensive about Jewish stuff like a digital Iron Dome. Well, that's not a problem for us. We haven't mentioned anything about that at all. It just hasn't come up. It just does not seem to be a factor in this story whatsoever. Not a big deal. You heard England, Portugal, Belgium, Holland, and Switzerland. Those are the countries we're talking about. This is a British story. This is a story about British people. De Beers proved to be one of the most successful cartel arrangements in the annals of modern commerce. Oh, no, it proved to be the most successful cartel arrangement. Not one of, the most successful cartel arrangement. Okay. While other commodities, such as gold, silver, copper, rubber, and grains... Rubber is an interesting one. At some point, maybe we'll hit the rubber... we'll talk about the rubber question, the RQ. I've read a couple books on Liberia, and rubber could be an interesting one. Price of all those other commodities fluctuated wildly in response to economic conditions. Diamonds have continued, with a few exceptions, to advance upward in price every year since the Depression. Indeed, the cartel seems so superbly in control of prices and unassailable that by the late 1970s, even speculators began buying diamonds as a guard against the vagaries of inflations and recession. So I think what Jeffrey Epstein is saying in this piece is that diamonds were basically the Bitcoin of the 20th century. Yeah, it's so uncommon in this story that I didn't even know we were talking about the JQ. I have no idea what that acronym stands for this time. It just hasn't come up. It's just not part of the story at all. I don't even know what you guys are talking about. So yeah, diamonds are the Bitcoin of the 20th century. Established. True. Thank you, Jeffrey. The diamond invention is far more than a monopoly for fixing diamond prices. It is a mechanism for converting tiny crystals of carbon into universally recognized tokens of wealth, power, and romance. To achieve this goal, De Beers had to control demand as well as supply. Both women and men had to be made to perceive diamonds not as marketable precious stones, but as an inseparable part of courtship and married life. To stabilize the market, De Beers had to endow these stones with a sentiment that would inhibit the public from ever reselling them. The illusion had to be created that diamonds were forever in the sense that they should never be resold. Interesting stuff. It seems like it seems like that all kind of worked. In September of 1938, Harry Oppenheimer, no relation, son of the founder of De Beers, and then 29, traveled from Johannesburg to New York City to meet with Gerald M. Lauk, president of N.W. Iyer. Let's go. Do you think we can get an N.W. Iyer tower in the chat going this time? Is it going to work this time? But yeah, this Jeffrey Epstein guy, I've never heard of him before, but he's really dropping some serious red pills in this article. So shout out Jeffrey Epstein. Okay, guys, we're doing an NW Iyer tower. There's no guys. Guys, there's no I or G in NW Iyer. Okay. That's enough towers for now. You guys flubbed it yet again. He traveled to meet the president of the N.W. Iyer, a leading advertising agency in the United States. Locke. I'm going to say Locke. Locke and N.W. Iyer had been recommended to Oppenheimer by the Morgan Bank. which has helped his father consolidate the De Beers financial empire. His bankers were concerned about the price of diamonds, which had declined worldwide. Yeah, it was a good try, guys. It was a good try. We got pretty close. We got pretty close this time. In Europe, where diamond prices had collapsed during the Depression, there seemed little possibility of restoring public confidence in diamonds. In Germany, Austria, Italy, and Spain, which the acronym is GAZE, the notion of giving a diamond ring to commemorate an engagement had never taken hold. In England and France, diamonds were still presumed to be jewels for aristocrats rather than for the masses. Furthermore, Europe was on the verge of war, and there seemed little possibility of expanding diamond sales. This left the United States as the only real market for De Beers diamonds. In fact, in 1938, some 3/4 of all of the cartel's diamonds were sold for engagement rings in the United States. Okay, that's actually Nwigser. Yeah. It's kind of earlier than I thought, but we persist. Most of these stones, however, were smaller and of poorer quality than those bought in Europe and had an average price of $80 apiece. Damn. Oppenheimer and the bankers believed that an advertising campaign could persuade Americans to buy more expensive diamonds. Oppenheimer suggested to Locke that his agency prepare a plan for creating a new image for diamond among Americans. He assured Locke that De Beers had not called on any other American advertising agency with this proposal, and that if the plan met with his father's approval, N.W. Ayer would be the exclusive agents for the placement of newspaper and radio advertisements in the United States. Oppenheimer agreed to underwrite the cost of the research necessary for developing the campaign. Locke instantly accepted the offer. Oppenheimer, drop in the truth bomb. Yeah. In their subsequent investigation of the American diamond market, the staff of N.W. Ayer found that since the end of World War I in 1919... 911, the total amount of diamonds sold in America, measured in carats, had declined by 50%. At the same time, the quality of the diamonds, measured in dollar value, had declined by nearly 100%. An Ayer memo concluded that the depressed state of the market for diamonds was the result of the economy, changes in social attitudes, and the promotion of competitive luxuries. Although it could do little about the state of the economy, N.W. Ayer suggested that a thorough, well-orchestrated advertising and public relations campaign, it could have a significant impact on the social attitudes of the public at large, and thereby channel American spending toward larger and more expensive diamonds instead of competitive luxuries. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the hip hop group must be named after this advertising firm. That's my guess. Specifically, the Ayer study stressed the need to strengthen the association in the public's mind of diamonds with romance. Since young men buy over 90% of all engagement rings, it would be crucial to inculcate them in the idea that diamonds were a gift of love. The larger and finer the diamond, the greater the expression of love. Similarly, young women had to be encouraged to view diamonds as an integral part of any romantic courtship. Since the Ayer plan to romanticize diamonds required subtly altering the public's picture of the way a man courts and wins a woman, the advertising agency strongly suggesting exploiting the relatively new medium of motion pictures. It is always interesting when you start going down these rabbit holes how many things how everything fits together, you know? Movie idols, the paragons of romance for the mass audience, would be given diamonds to use as their symbols of indestructible love. In addition, the agency suggested offering stories and society photographs to selected magazines and newspapers, which would reinforce the link between diamonds and romance. Stories would stress the size of the diamonds that celebrities presented their loved ones, and photographs. Did that other guy literally just copy and paste full paragraphs out of this article? Yeah, man. We're really wearing out the thunder button. With all of these frickin' sinister connections that Jeffrey Epstein is making for us here. How could the Diamond Jays get into the movie business? I have no idea. I have no idea how they had any of those phone numbers. It's frickin' crazy. If I ever find a Foyd to marry, I will buy her one of those little plastic Chinese vending machine rings for her engagement. Because I'm based and anti-diamond pilled. Let's freaking go. Oh yes, a flat cap, very plural. This is some people were mistakenly suggesting that I was wearing my light skin hue hat. Actually, nothing could be further from the truth. I'm wearing my smart little boy hat. This is a smart little boy true crimes. It's not a stream, it's an investigation. We're doing detective work here. And this is my smart little boy detective hat. Getting diamonds into the film industry went smooth like cocoa butter. Very true. Very real. Not wearing your smallest hat, I noticed. Well, I didn't think there would be any need for that, and thus far it hasn't come up at all, so I don't really see why I would need my smaller hat for this. It's not really actually relevant to this story at all. This is a story about capitalism, man. I feel like this whole paragraph was like copied and pasted out of this article into the other one. But anyway, fashion designers would talk on radio programs about the trend towards diamonds that Ayer planned to start. The Ayer plan also envisioned using the British royal family to help foster the romantic allure of diamonds. What the hell? What the hell? And okay. Can the British royal family be like contracted out from American marketing firms? Is that how this works? Like, okay, that doesn't seem quite right. Doesn't seem quite right. Okay. An Ayer memo said, since Great Britain has such an important interest in the diamond industry, the royal couple could be of tremendous assistance to this British industry by wearing diamonds rather than other jewels. Queen Elizabeth later went on a well-publicized trip to several South African diamond mines, and she accepted a diamond from Oppenheimer. Foyd's capitalism, eh? More like capital J-ism. I have no idea what that's in reference to. Foyd's loved the royal family. The move was fishing with dynamite. Those damn Brit cells and their royal... I mean, it's a little crazy that like the Madison Avenue marketing firm could just like call up the royal family and be like, yeah, we've got some scheme we're working on. Maybe that shouldn't be surprising, but it's a little bit like, okay, you know. In addition to putting these plans into action, N.W. Ayer had placed a series of lush 4-color advertisements in magazines that were presumed to mold elite opinion, featuring reproductions of famous paintings by such artists as Picasso, Derain, Dali, and Duffy. These advertisements were intended to convey the idea that diamonds, like paintings, were unique works of art. You have to be a schemer to be royal. How do you think you become king? You play CK2, you know. Yeah, I mean, I guess. Though, I mean, I feel like the current iterations of royal family people, they're not the ones who, like, you know when you play a Crusader Kings campaign and you have your kind of, like, high stats guy who just, like, rolls with good stats, and you use him and you get up from, like, count to duke to king, and he like connects all the lands and changes all the laws and gets all the power, and then you get the like once he dies you get the sort of increasingly inbred like losers and fail children, and everything falls apart. I feel like that's kind of our current royalty. They're not like the high stat roll royals who actually like establish anything, right? I guess they're the ones who take phone calls from advertising companies asking to be part of their schemes. Not too surprising, I've heard some conspiracy theory once about how the U.S. still secretly bows to Daddy Britain. Is that true? Amerilard's in the audience. Is that true? That would be pretty embarrassing for you guys. Yeah, that's true. Oh, I feel like I saw that. I thought someone... Okay, never mind. Ain't no way. Okay. I still don't remember the details of all of it. Yeah, I'm not too familiar with that. I mean, if I had to wager a guess, I would say that's probably more like the royal family bows to the Amerifats. But I don't know. Or maybe they're all bowing to some undisclosed, unknown organization that I wouldn't even hazard to begin to conceive of making a guess as to who that might be. In addition, that's the art thing. But the individualistic American in me says that is likely fake and gay. Yeah, I mean, I would personally kind of doubt that. I'm unfamiliar with it. Maybe that's the case, but I would guess that is not true. But I don't know. Yeah, man, Amerifats with their garbage chocolate. True. Real. By 1941, the advertising agency reported to its client that it had already achieved impressive results in its campaign. The sales of diamonds had increased by 55% in the United States since 1938, reversing the previous downward trend in retail sales. NWIR noted that its campaign had required the conception of a new form of advertising, which has been widely imitated ever since. There was no direct sale to be made. There was no brand name to be impressed on the public mind. There was simply an idea, the eternal emotional value surrounding the diamond. Damn, that's pretty potent there. There was no direct sale to be made. There was no brand name to be impressed on the public mind. There was simply an idea. Interesting. We only bow to them when it comes to food standards. You guys bow to the British for food standards? We have no real quality meat here, and literally no country wants our beef. Is American, I've heard you guys have, like, super, like, estrogen-y milk and stuff. Is your beef no good? Like, does America, land of the burger, have sub-quality beef? That's exceptionally disappointing if that's true. All food in America is bud-fugged. Really? You guys don't even have good burgers? That's, we call it Goyslop for a reason, Hugh. I mean, I don't think any of our food is in good health aspect. But God damn, our cheeseburger's tasty. They're organic is our standard. Yeah, okay, I'm not well traveled. Like how? Because to me, like the Alberta beef that I get, it seems pretty good. But Nick, you might know. You've been around the world. Like, is our beef like good on a like international scale? I don't really have a frame of reference. That's legit shock. Alberta has some of the highest beef standard. Okay, because yeah, like I go to a local butcher stuff that gets local. I think gets local beef, and it seems very good to me, but I don't have the frame of reference. But I feel like Americans having low quality burgers is like that's a reason to storm the Capitol. No, like how is America, land of the burger, having like substandard G-slaw? I don't even know what that word means. That's crazy. We have good food here. It's just not as high quality as most other places. I'm not super well traveled either, but I've done some reading into this. Our process is kind of willy-nilly. Huh. Well, that's unfortunate. I used to know a guy from Spain, and he was always like bitching on our specifically like the quality of our produce here, which I'm pretty sure our beef is good. Nick has backed me up on that, but he was really going into us on our like tomatoes being like super low quality, and at least in Edmonton there's certainly something to that through vast chunks of the year. So maybe they have better food in Europe. Would rather pay money for hormonal treatments rather than get it from food. Yeah. Yeah, I get all my tranny pills from plastic bags, brother. American meat is made with capitalism considered first. More meat for less money. Meat that doesn't expire makes more money. Europe just has food figured out for the most part. Yeah, I have heard they have good food there. Euro poors, as I call them. Grow your own food. I pulled 50 pounds of potatoes out of my garden today. That's cool. You can make a lot of French fries with 50 pounds. Though, like, do Europeans, like, don't they all have, like, pathetic little baby man portions? So, like, your food might be full of, like, hormones and estrogens, but at least you get a lot of it. It's one of the few things our American land can learn from them. It's part of agenda. Well, no, this is all connected. That's the thing. Where's that graphic? It's all freaking connected. Is there a frame without David Icke standing there? It's all freaking connected. Well done, juicy potatoes. Their food has more nutrients. Europoors don't have central air. Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, their food might be better. I feel like a lot of the Europoorin fetishization that people have, it fails to take into account that they're like not allowed to open their own windows, and more of them die from heat every year than Americans die from guns. Depends on which country you're in, I guess. Brits eat the full English each Sunday, and that's a huge portion. Yeah, that's true. That's true. They actually, from my like extensive watching of videos of people eating food, if money was no option or object, I would probably go, from what I gather, northern Spain, southern France probably has like the world's best food. At least in like high-end restaurants, northern Spain appears to have some like real good-looking stuff. Depends on which country. Imagine wanting to be British. Yeah, like the window shit and like the you got a license for that. Like, I don't know. There's some heinous shit, but Yeah, I mean, I believe you guys that the American food system is fricked up. But America having a fucked up burger supply system is genuinely, like, shocking. And you guys should probably... That should be, like, issue number 1, is getting, like, your burger supply chain, the burger industrial complex in line and producing high-quality, huge quantities of stuff. That's, like, your thing, guys, is the burger. All their buildings are 5 billion years old, so they don't have modern creature comforts, and they're all poor. That's the thing to remember, is they're called Europoors for a reason. They kind of have... They're doing their own NWIR advertising campaign to try and convince everyone that it's so awesome there that they ride their bicyclette to the market every day to get a piece of bread to take back to their sweltering hot apartment that doesn't have a refrigerator because they're poor as fuck. France or Spain is basically the creme de la creme. Yeah, that's my impression. France and Spain have, like, banger food. I think In-N-Out has good burger meat because they source it themselves or something. China also probably has good food outside of the gutter oil situation. It could be, yeah. I mean, I've watched a lot of videos of people eating, like, Chinese street food and whatever, and it looks okay, but... I mean, if I had, like, infinity money, I would be going to, like, France and Spain to eat, probably. They ride bikes and drive little soy cars. Yeah, that's a good point. Like, you Americans, you need to keep in mind that they're poor Europeans. We do not have to bow to them anymore, okay? They ride their gay little bicycles and their little soy cars to the market to get a loaf of French bread to take back to their hot-ass apartment with no refrigerator where they're not allowed to open the windows. If they open the window, they get fined by the Trilateral Commission. So, you know, we don't have to bow to the Europoors, you know? Americans can make their burgers great again. It's an option. Anyway, we go on. It's all connected. Is this all coming together yet for people? The Trilateral Commission, the Bilderberg Group, is this all making sense? How it's all connected like that? Like a zipper? Turkey also has good food as far as the dishes go, at least. I'd rather eat Inagol kofte than anything on a Mickey D's menu. From what I gather, Turkey has a lot of, they're really into comically large portion sizes. And it'll be like beef and cheese, but like 30 pounds of it. The Green Party controls the town I live in. 50K fine for having a campfire. The Green Party controls your town? Damn, on terrible. On average, on terrible L. But actually, like, all through British Columbia, which is a great place for camping, they basically have, like, a perpetual fire ban now. So, like, you go camping, and, like, you're not allowed to have campfires while you're camping, basically all the time at this point. I mean, there's that whole thing in Nova Scotia, but anyway. Turkey also has Muslims. Well, beef, cheese, vegetables, all you really need. Base Turkish food. Yeah, that is a Canada moment. Well, there's plenty of fires going on. That's what I'm hearing. It's been, like, rainy and cold all summer out here, but apparently out east it's really hot and dry. I don't know. That has not been the case out here. I mean, I guess it's all connected. It's all connected, folks. But I won't get too distracted by the fire stuff. I think there's other things going on there, but yeah, we've been getting wildfire smoke from Canada blowing down from here in Minnesota. Yeah, okay. I've heard some Americans are getting pissed. I mean, the issue is we do like no forest management, and like to be fair, Americans also don't really do any forest management, but Canada's just like mostly forest. But yeah, I mean, we've had a lot of smoky summers recently, but this year's been kind of rainy and cool out here, so we haven't been getting too much smoke. But I guess it's different out east. All the fires are in super remote places too. Yeah, I mean that is the issue with like doing the forest management. It would be like a pretty major undertaking here because Canada forest coverage. Or actually, let's do North America. It's all connected, folks. This is actually all connected to the diamond industry. Forest coverage map. So you see, like, I don't think America does a great job managing their forests either, but as you can see from like the we've got a lot of forest up here. Like we're sort of most of the country is super remote forest. But anyway, it's all connected. It's all connected. This can kind of be our secret like symbol, like our Illuminati handshake symbol. If we ever need to like meet up in a train station, this can be our symbol that everything is connected. I think that's pretty cool. I think that's smooth like cocoa butter. Anyway, back to diamonds. In its 1947 strategy plan, the advertising agency strongly emphasized a psychological approach. Pretty based in poggers. Thank you. Everything is intertwined. The lip tucking to wildfire pipeline is real. In its 1947 strategy plan, the advertising agency strongly emphasized a psychological approach. We are dealing with, just to reiterate this inception, I believe Nick coined the phrase inception advertising, which I think this is important. I'm actually going to copy and paste this into my secret notes over here for future reference. The advertising agency strongly emphasized a psychological approach. We are dealing with a problem in mass psychology. We seek to strengthen the tradition of the diamond engagement ring to make it a psychological necessity capable of competing successfully at the retail level with utility goods and services. It defined as its target audience some 70 million people under 15 years and over whose opinion we hope to influence in support of our objectives. Okay. N.W. Iyer outlined a subtle program that included arranging for lecturers to visit high schools across the country. That other journalist literally just copied and pasted this stuff. What is going on here? It all stems from Mr. Jeffrey Epstein. All of these lectures revolve around the diamond engagement ring and are reaching thousands of girls in their assemblies, classes, and informal meetings in our leading educational institutions. So, like, what would that be? That would be like you have a high school assembly and some woman shows up to talk about how great like diamonds are. Like what would that actually? What would that be? Like you have a lecturer visit a high school to promote diamonds? Like what is going on here? The agency had organized in 1946 a weekly service called Hollywood Personalities, which provided 125 leading newspapers with descriptions of the diamonds worn by movie stars, and it continued its efforts to encourage news coverage of celebrities displaying diamond rings as symbols of romantic involvement. In 1947, the agency commissioned a series of portraits of engaged socialites. The idea was to create prestigious role models for the poor. We literally already read this one. He actually had this in as a quote. Anyway, movie stars, school people, the royal freaking family are all in on it. It's almost as if it's all connected around the Trilateral Commission. I wish I had what she has. Dead internet theory in full play. How so? How is this a dead? How I believe you, but I don't understand. Oh, because it's copy. I think actually this one he had in it was actually he did did actually just fully quote those two paragraphs. But yeah. So now back to new stuff. Back to some new R pills coming from J. Epstein. De Beers needed a slogan for diamonds that expressed both the theme of romance and legitimacy. An NWI copywriter came up with the caption, "A diamond is forever," which was scrawled on the bottom of a picture of two young lovers on a honeymoon. That's Don Draper. That's the NWA copywriter. I'm just going to refer to them as NWA from here henceforth. Even though diamonds can in fact be shattered, chipped, and discolored or incinerated to ash, the concept of eternity perfectly captured the magical qualities that the advertising agency wanted to attribute to diamonds. Within a year, "A diamond is forever" became the official motto of De Beers. In 1951, NWA found some resistance to its $1 million publicity blitz. It noted in an annual strategy review, "The millions of brides and brides-to-be are subjected to at least two important pressures that work against the diamond engagement ring. Among the more prosperous, there is the sophisticated urge to be different as a means of being smart. The lower income groups would like to show more for the money than they can find in the diamond they can afford." I still hear that a diamond is forever. Well, apparently, yeah, I think they might still be using that because there was a relatively recent. Where was it? Where was Joshua Friedman was red pilling us on this earlier in the stream? That I think they're trying to bring back that catchphrase because they're sort of trying to counteract Chinese people buying artificial diamonds. It's crazy how ingrained the concept of the GIA's main product being permanent is into the English-speaking world society. Even Kanye West had a song about diamonds being forever. Yeah, I mean, there's a James Bond movie called that too. Can you link the Joshua Friedman video in the Discord? Yes. Give me a moment. If you're not in the Discord already, credit cards out. If you want to tap into the real stuff. Now would be a great time to get those credit cards out. To tap into the Discord. Link in bio. Link in description. To remedy these problems, the advertising agency argued it is essential that these pressures be met by the constant publicity to show that only the diamond is everywhere accepted and recognized as a symbol of betrothal. NWA was always searching for new ways to influence the American public opinion. What's crazy too is this is the diamond one, right? And as Mr. J. Epstein noted earlier, this is probably perhaps the most successful example, but there were other advertising companies working on other campaigns. This is only part of it. This is this is the wooden oven diamond pressure system of your mind, man, was being produced in NWA boardrooms and other places similar to such. Anyway, I totally forgot there's a Bond film called Diamonds Are Forever. Yes, true. Truth nuke. The diamond company set the standards of a diamond should cost 4 months' salary. Luckily, inflation has lowered that number. They set the demand, supply and the price. It's financial kill box. Yeah, I think in like one of the more recent ads, they have lowered that down to a mere 2 months' salary. Wooden ovens. I'm pretty sure we read wooden ovens earlier. Somebody else posted that that's how you make diamonds is in a wooden oven. I'm just repeating what I heard. I didn't somebody else mentioned that. NWA was always searching for new ways to influence American public opinion. Not only did it organize a service to release the women's pages of the engagement ring, but it set about exploiting the relatively new medium of television by arranging for actresses and other celebrities to wear diamonds when they appeared before the camera. It also established a Diamond Information Center that placed a stamp of quasi-authority on the flood of historical data and news it released. Interesting, they have news in scare quotes. We work hard to keep ourselves known throughout the publishing world as the source of information on diamonds, NWA commented in a memorandum to De Beers, and added, because we have done it successfully, we have opportunities to help with articles originated by others. A wooden oven would not be able to take the pressure needed. Somebody else said wooden ovens. I never said wooden ovens. That was somebody else. I hear the wooden oven can make 6 million carat diamond. Interesting. I love how the thunder means it's the blue star. I have no idea what that's in reference to. Foyds be like, I need at least a 30,000 ring, otherwise you're a brokey. Well, you see, it's not even their fault. They were told by authorities such as the Diamond Information Center and celebrities, I don't see that, by television, celebrities, actresses and celebrities. We're all victims, man. Some people say 6 million carats is too high. It's anti-Semitism to argue with it. I don't even understand the reference. I don't know what you're even talking about. NWA proposed to apply to the diamond market Thorstein Veblen. It's an interesting name. Damn. That's a pretty powerful haircut there. Interesting. NWA proposed to apply to the diamond market Thorstein Veblen's idea stated in The Theory of the Leisure Class that Americans were motivated in their purchases not by utility, but by conspicuous consumption. It's interesting because according to his Wikipedia little summary here, a well-known critic of capitalism, and yet his theories are being used to sell diamonds. The DIC and GIA and TV all working together, it's making sense. Foyds got psyoped many such cases. True. Hugh, we need an investigation stream into finding out what the heck Nick is talking about. I honestly have no idea. He's making some pretty crazy references that I don't understand. Conspicuous consumption. The substantial diamond gift can be made a more widely sought symbol of personal and family success, an expression of socioeconomic achievement, NWA said in a report. To exploit this desire for conspicuous display, the agency specifically recommended promote the diamond as one material object which can reflect, in a very personal way, a man's success in life. Since this campaign would be addressed to upwardly mobile men, the advertisements ideally should have the aroma of tweed, old leather, and polished wood, which is characteristic of a good club. Tweed, old leather, and polished wood. Interesting. Toward the end of the 1950s, NWA reported to De Beers that 20 years of advertisements and publicity had had a pronounced effect on the American psyche. Since 1939, an entirely new generation of young people has grown to marriageable age, it said. To this new generation, a diamond ring is considered a necessity to engagements by virtually everyone. The message had been so successfully impressed on the minds of this generation that those who could not afford to buy a diamond at the time of their marriage would defer the purchase rather than forego it. Okay, that wasn't the one I was going for, but that's all good. The campaign to internationalize the diamond invention began in earnest in the mid-1960s. The prime targets were Japan, Germany, and Brazil. Brazil mentioned! Since NWA was primarily an American advertising agency, De Beers brought in the J. Walter Thompson Agency, which had especially strong advertising subsidiaries in the target countries, to place most of its international advertising. Within 10 years, De Beers succeeded beyond even its most optimistic expectations, creating a billion-dollar-a-year diamond market in Japan, where matrimonial custom had survived feudal revolutions, world wars, industrialization, and even the American occupation. Brazil. You need a vuvuzela for Brazil mentioned. True. Yes. Yes, I will add that to the list of powerful sound effects, because I think I have a feeling that Brazil is just going to keep coming up. Until the mid-1960s, Japanese parents arranged marriages for their children through trusted intermediaries. This ceremony was consummated, according to Shinto law, by the bride and groom drinking rice wine from the same wooden bowl. There was no tradition of romance, courtship, seduction, or prenuptial love in Japan. It's cool. They just have no tradition of romance, courtship, or seduction. Interesting. And none of that required the gift of a diamond engagement ring. Even the fact that millions of American soldiers had been assigned to military duty in Japan for a decade had not created any substantial Japanese interest in giving diamonds as a token of love. J. Walter Thompson began its campaign by suggesting that diamonds were a visible sign of modern Western values. It created a series of color advertisements in Japanese magazines showing beautiful women displaying their diamond rings. All the women had Western facial features and wore European clothes. I wonder if this is part of the genesis of, like, East Asian women getting, like, white lady surgery. Damn. Listening to this in the gym, I'm assuming through a Bluetooth speaker. Based. Moreover, the women in most of the advertisements were involved in some activity, such as bicycling, camping, yachting, ocean swimming, or mountain climbing, that defied Japanese traditions. In the background, there usually stood a Japanese man, also attired in fashionable European clothes. In addition, almost all of the automobiles, sporting equipment, and other artifacts in the picture were conspicuous foreign imports. The message was clear. Diamonds represent a sharp break with the Oriental past and a sign of entry into modern life. It's so over for Japan sells. Yeah, I mean, I know this is like a thing across a bunch of countries, but it's kind of interesting that, like, at least specifically in Japan, that not so very long ago, there was like a concerted effort launched from advertising companies to disrupt like millennia old, I guess it's not courtship, but like their marriage cycle or whatever. And now my understanding is some 50 years after this has happened, 70 years, whatever, that system is like totally busted in Japan. And they're all marrying holograms and robots and stuff. But anyway, many such cases. The campaign was remarkably successful. Until 1959, the importation of diamonds had not even been permitted by post-war Japanese government. When the campaign began in 1967, not quite 5% of engaged Japanese women received a diamond engagement ring. By 1972, the proportion had risen to 27%. By 1978, half of all Japanese women who were married wore a diamond. By 1981, some 60% of Japanese brides wore diamonds. In a mere 14 years, the 1500-year Japanese tradition had been radically revised. Diamonds became a staple of the Japanese marriage. Japan became the second largest market after the United States for the sale of diamond engagement rings. All of the gym goers have to learn about this. How else will they learn to stop stealing technically worthless gems and metals? True. True. Japan might go back to being an isolationist nation soon. Seems like lots of people are tired of baka gaijins. Very sugoi. The Japanese erosion of culture through the diamond psyop. I'm going to be honest. I feel like the digging into the diamond stuff has actually yielded certain connections that I did not initially foresee. But, you know, when you're a detective, you just gotta follow the case. In America, which remained the most important market for most of De Beers diamonds, NWA recognized the need to create a new demand for diamonds among long-married couples. Candies come, flowers come, furs come, but such ephemeral gifts fail to satisfy a woman's psychological craving for a renewal of romance, NWA said in a report. An advertising campaign could instill the idea that the gift of a second diamond in the later years of marriage would be accepted as a sign of ever-growing love. In 1962, NWA asked for authorization to begin the long-term process of setting the diamond aside as the only appropriate gift for those later-in-life occasions where sentiment is to be expressed. De Beers immediately approved the campaign. Deja vu. Hey, Nick, did you ever get through the battle files? 16. If we follow the money, we'll eventually uncover the buried Nephilim bedazzled in millions of gems. True. Real.
Whoa!
Same here. I didn't know anything about the diamond psyop until very recently. Crazy how deep it goes. I would not be at all surprised if after we uncover the Trilateral Commission, the Club of Rome, Bilderberg Group, etc., that we end up in the jewel-encrusted Nephilim tomb. Would not be surprised at all. Yeah, Battlefield's a bit dope. Had a blast playing through the weekend. Next weekend is second open beta. Battlefield stuff. The diamond market had to be further restructured in the mid-1960s to accommodate a surfeit of minute diamonds, which De Beers undertook to market for the Soviets. They had discovered... So now they're working with the freaking Soviets? They had discovered diamond mines in Siberia after intensive exploration. In the late 1950s, De Beers and his allies no longer controlled the diamond supply and realized that open competition with the Soviets would inevitably leave, as Harry Oppenheimer, no relation, gingerly put it, to price fluctuations, which would weaken the carefully cultivated confidence of the public in the value of diamonds. Oppenheimer, assuming that neither party could afford risking the destruction of the diamond invention, offered the Soviets a straightforward deal, a single channel for controlling the world supply of diamonds. In accepting this arrangement, the Soviets became partners in the cartel and co-protectors of the diamond invention. Or a 6-inch diamond-encrusted Paul Dano. Somehow Yakub will fit into this as well. I'm calling it. Again, I would not be at all surprised. A teamy, gemmy Jack Paul Dano screaming about the eyedropper of hots. Okay. Poor guy. I feel like the modern-day diamond psyop is how streamers convinced everyone, myself included, into buying gamer chairs. Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, brother, I need a new gamer chair. I bought an Amazon Basics gaming office chair, and it is not good. It is not good. I need a better one. Okay, so now we've learned that the Soviets became involved. What was, like, the were you like allowed? I guess you were just allowed to like do trade with the carrots and sell their stuff in America. Like, were they not kind of embargoed off? Yeah, I need to buy like a executive chair. I need the type of chair that like Alec Baldwin from 30 Rock would be sitting in, like a big ass executive chair. Yeah, not a gaming chair, a CEO chair. That's what I'm after. Just when you thought you could trust the Russians. Yeah, I'm a little. That's another like shocking plot twist. But now the freaking Soviets are involved. Oh boy, this article still goes on for a bit. I need to. No, actually, no. I'll have time. I got. We'll get through this article. I do need to get the episode uploaded at some point here, but we'll power through this exceptionally long article. Almost all of the Soviet diamonds were under half a carat in their uncut form, and there was no ready retail outlet for millions of such tiny diamonds. When it made its secret deal with the Soviet Union, De Beers had expected production from the Siberian mines to decrease gradually. Instead, production accelerated at an incredible pace, and De Beers was forced to reconsider its sales strategy. De Beers ordered NWA to reverse one of its themes. Women were no longer to be led to equate the status and emotional commitment to an engagement ring with the sheer size of the diamond. A strategy for small diamond sales was outlined, stressing the importance of quality, color, and cut over size. Pictures of 1/4 carat rings would replace pictures of up to 2 carat rings. Moreover, the advertising agency began its international campaign to illustrate gems as small as 1/10 of a carat and give them the same emotional importance as larger stones. The news release also made clear that women should think of diamonds regardless of size as objects of perfection. A small diamond could be as perfect as a large diamond. I just sit on a big diamond for my gaming. Classic. De Beers devised the Eternity Ring, made up of as many as 25 tiny Soviet diamonds, which could be sold to an entirely new market of older married women. The advertising campaign was based on the theme of recaptured love. Again, sentiments were born out of necessity. Older American women received a ring of miniature diamonds because of the needs of a South African corporation to accommodate the Soviet Union. There are 2 Oppenheimer families that were both diamond families, and neither of them seem to be related to J. Robert Oppenheimer, which seems to be German. Diamonds have industrial applications. Wearing on your finger is just asking to get jacked. True. My Waffle House wife just forgot who I was in Cell Uprising. Let's go. Gold is more rare and has more applications. Yeah. But I mean but did gold... Well, maybe gold did. Maybe like everything had one of these like mid-century advertising campaigns. But I mean, it seems like fundamentally diamonds just had like a really powerful one. Endless Vice, buy her a ring. I'm going to be real. I'm kind of losing steam here, guys. This article is very long. I think we've made a good dent in the case, but I have some got some stuff I got to take care of tonight, so I think I'm going to have to call the stream there. I think it was a pretty successful stream, but it's going to take me a while to get through this article. To return some videotapes. Yeah, man. I feel like we all learned a lot. We learned about the deep connections of everything to everything else. We developed our cool secret code hand signal that we can make. Like that. To indicate that everything is connected. We almost got an NWIer tower in chat. I see you guys are... Looks like you guys are trying to type out NWIer in chat again. But yeah, I'm sorry to dip before we finish the article. I'm I gotta get some stuff ready for tomorrow. But I think that was a pretty successful first day on the case. I think we shall continue the investigation into the diamond scamdustry next week. Spelling night. Perfect. Is this okay? What do we think? Is this case closed, or shall we continue on with it? Because I do have some other. Because I had my thesis at the beginning. I think that absolutely everything that we've touched on has fully confirmed the thesis. Let's get ones in chat if you think the case has been closed and it's cracked and we've totally busted open the diamond biz. 2's in chat if you want to move on to something else. And I do have several excellent options to move on for. Nizreal in chat, let's go. Got to expand on Israel. I don't even know what that flag is. What's that, Argentina? We'll come back to it when the names shows up in other cases. 3 was not an option. We can either close the case, we can declare the case successful. I think we have kind of cracked the code. Obviously, we will come back to it because, as we've discussed, everything is connected. Again, 2's in chat. Okay, so we're going to declare that this case is closed. That we've kind of cracked it wide open. Diamond business exposed. Diamond guys on suicide watch. I'm getting some 1's and some 2's now. Here, I got, let me just pull this open here. Because, I have some, here are some of the other options, I thought 2 was not, okay, so you want to continue on with it? Because I have some pretty good ones, but we can continue on with diamonds, there's plenty of time. There's these ones, Skinwalker Ranch, Jerry Sandusky, John DuPont, I'm sure they're connected to diamond somehow. East India Company, Harry Horse, Robert Picton, James Shelby Downard, Hollyweird, L. Ron Hubbard, Manson, Oklahoma City. Anyway, we'll see. It seems to be kind of a split decision. Do a CSGO case operating stream. Sandusky, what's the question there? I don't know yet. That's one that we would have to investigate further. I'm sure there's some sinister things going on. But I think... Okay, let's say this. I think the case is closed. It has been beaten, but I'm sure as we continue on to it, there will be more to uncover. So let's say next week we'll continue the diamond investigation next week. And we'll see where it takes us. I thought at least for one more. Yeah, okay. I'm with you guys. We'll do diamonds for one more week. We'll see where the case goes. Maybe we'll keep going after that. Maybe we'll stop. And then eventually we'll move on to other things. But the diamond business does seem to be pretty tapped into everything else. It's almost as if everything's connected. Yes, the diamond stream is forever. Somehow it will tie into... Yeah, that's true. I think we cracked a lot of the case open, but we haven't got to the diamond-encrusted Nephilim. We haven't got to the Anunnaki. There's a lot of routes still to go. But anyway, lads, thank you for joining me on this case, Junior Detectives. I will see you guys next time. All right. Good night.